Where are the low value men? Like, what are all the low value men up to during these trying times? Because the high value men, I know they're around. They won't shut the fuck up. Low value men, I have not heard a word out of. I'm starting to think I'm on their side. I think I want one of those. I want a low value man. They don't make podcasts. I haven't seen one low value man make a podcast. Do they not know how to use microphones? Maybe that's a good thing. That's hot. All right, I've never seen a man use a microphone for good.
Until now, everybody buckle up. It's low value mail time with your host, Danny Polishchuk. What up, Scroats? I bet you cannot believe your eyes. I know, change sucks. Everybody hates it. I know, but welcome to an all-new episode of Low Value Mail on this October 28th, 2024, the year of our Lord. The wrenches are gone. The wrenches are gone, guys. I know a lot of people are going, what the fuck is happening to the wrenches? What is happening? What is happening to everything? So, before we get into it, I was going to change the show in 2 weeks from tonight after the election. And then I said, fuck it. There's too much going on. The show is missing a little bit of, the show is missing something, in my opinion. I'm sure, and I appreciate all the scroats for, watching the show. But I was like, we need not just guests. We need kind of some current events and guests. So this is what's going on. This is the new show. I'm going to change a lot too. I'm going to change the intro as well. I just didn't have time because I literally woke up this morning. I go, nah, I got to do it. I got to change the show today. I wasn't planning on it. So here's the new show. It's not really that new. It's basically a mix of the original show that I did and the current show. If you've been watching for close to 3 years, you kind of remember. So going forward, Low Value Mail is going as, some people are angry. Reagan saying class action lawsuit. Okay. You'll be hearing from my Jewish lawyers. But so going forward, this is the new format of the show. I think you guys are going to like it. And if you don't, well then fuck me then, right? But so the show's now 2.5 hours. You're getting 30 extra minutes of Low Value Mail. What a deal. Patrick says the Jews stole my wrench. This Jew stole your wrench. Nobody has a wrench. Actually, the only person who has a wrench is producer Mark. He's the only one who has a wrench. We could maybe hand out some wrenches should they be needed, but I don't think we needed them. I honestly didn't love how it looked, to be honest. And the only reason for it was the links. I'm not doing the Low Value Mail after show anymore. This is what's going on, okay? So going forward, the first hour of Low Value Mail, 9 to 10 p.m., we're going to cover news, current events, and some calls. Depending on how much time, it's going to be at least one call, maybe 3 calls. We'll see how much time we have for that. Then 10 to 11 or 11:30, depending on the guest, will be a guest. And then if it's a guest that's 10 to 11 o'clock, then the last half hour will just be straight open lines, okay? Also, starting next week, I will be adding from 11:35 to 12:35 Low Value Mail overtime. I should get like a little red hockey goal thing. I don't know. It's going to be an hour show every week. That show, Low Value Mail overtime, will only be for patrons. But it is live. I'll be doing it live. Bill O'Reilly, I'll be doing it live, but you don't have to watch it live. Essentially, I'm going to cover articles that I didn't cover at the beginning of the show. Essentially, whatever I didn't cover, plus maybe some stuff that's like maybe a little spicier, or it's stuff that's like, not the most topical, but interesting. We'll be covering that in Low Value Mail after overtime. I almost called it the after show. Low Value Mail overtime. It's going to be every week for when I do these, because there's obviously going to be some weeks where I miss these. And we'll have some calls on the overtime show as well. So if, and more importantly, the articles, you as a viewer, not as a viewer, you as someone who supports the show, either through Patreon, You can join if you want to be one of the green people now. You used to be a blue person, now green person. But also Patreons are not shown here. Patrick says this is getting a little too mediocre value for my taste. I know. You know what the problem was? And I'll be honest with you, because obviously I feel like we're all, we hang out every week essentially, right? So the show's not exactly growing how I like for having been doing this for the last 3 years. I know I've been dicking around with it a lot, but the problem is it's not really, the way it was originally set up is not good for clips on the internet, which is generally a pretty good driver of new viewers on a show. And it's just not set up. It didn't look great. It just wasn't set up. Like it's hard to clip up in 90 seconds when someone calls in for like an 8-minute phone call. It's just very difficult. Shout out to Vince gifting 5 low value mail memberships. So anyways, that's why I'm changing it. If you don't like it, suck a lemon, but I think it'll be a much better show. I think you will all like it. But anyways, so if you'd like to support the show, which you can do so on patreon.com/lowvaluemail, MAIL. You can do so by joining the channel here for as little as $1 a month, or you can subscribe to me on X, which some people do. You'll be allowed to, I'm going to every week at the start of the week, or I guess it will be probably every Wednesday, I'll go start a thread, and you can just drop links for articles that you would like covered on the following episode of the show. Everybody can vote on you can give a little thumbs up or whatever for the ones you like, and then I will select from those articles. So you will be able to kind of, contribute to the show legitimately, to the main show and the Low Value Mail Overtime show. And then as well, if you sign up only for Patreon, because I can't offer this, or maybe I can no, I don't think I can offer this. Oh no, sure I can. I think I can offer this. So, it doesn't matter if you're a Patreon subscriber, which is preferable, but just because eventually here's the deal. I'm going to get demonetized eventually on YouTube, and then none of you will be members anymore. When that'll happen, I don't know, but we can almost guarantee that is going to happen. So, but you'll basically get access to that after show every week that you can watch later. And because it's not a live call-in show, there will be some calls, but it doesn't matter. So please, if you've considered in the past, I know in the past I haven't really been able to offer much for patrons other than Discord, which is, I don't know what the fuck is going on in the Discord. I don't want to know. I'm not going to lie. I don't really want to know what's going on in the Discord. But I haven't really been able to offer much. I understand that. But so now you will get a full extra episode where I'll just be covering stories for an hour, articles, whatnot. If you have any questions or whatever, Q&A stuff, you can definitely drop them in. And the phone lines will be open to obviously everybody who has the link. And that'll be starting next week. Now, before I get started, please like and subscribe to the show. A bunch of you are cowards who, for whatever reason, just watch us. You're cucks, and you don't subscribe to the show. All new episode of The Bathhouse tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Please check that out. We'll be back at the studio, not in the green room, because they're dealing with some tech stuff. And then if you want to catch me live, you live in Albany or Hartford, I'll be there December 4th and then the 5th. The 5th. So come out, rock out, come say hi. That should be a good time. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. Oh yeah, and we're joined. Totally forgot. So in the second hour of the show tonight, we will be joined by Jared Klickstein, who's a really cool dude. He's an independent journalist and the author of Crooked Smile: What It Took to Escape a Decade of Homelessness, Addiction, and Crime. And he will be joining the show in the second hour, and we'll have him for 90 minutes. So. And we'll be taking a break. Basically from 10 to 10:05, we'll be taking a short break so I can cue that up. And that'll be it. Someone says, Danny with the hog leg. I don't know what that means. But anyways, and there's a poll up, which will be pertinent to something I'm going to cover very shortly, obviously. So, the topic du jour, news of the day. Nazi rally at Madison Square Garden. I'm sure many of you caught this yesterday. I had a moment where I was like, I want to go to this. It's literally a 3-minute walk from where I currently am sitting on my ass right now. I don't want to hear anything about the Diet Dr. Pepper. I know the fucking peanut gallery is going to be getting into it, okay? Don't want to hear it. I got mostly waters, but I wanted to treat myself with a Diet Dr. Pepper. Yes, Patrick, Patrick posted a wrench. That's your new wrench, guys. I promise you'll get over it. But so Trump had a rally at the Garden yesterday, Madison Square Garden, famed historic site. MSNBC calling it a Nazi rally. My favorite thing is MSNBC puts out an article saying some people are comparing Trump's rally to the 1939 Nazi rally. I'm like, yeah, you guys are doing that. You're the ones doing that. That is ridiculous. They go, some people are saying this. Some people are calling it this. You're like, you are doing this. But they were comparing it. Obviously, the Democrats have had multiple rallies at Madison Square Garden. Clearly, the Democrats' game plan at the moment is Trump is Hitler. And you have, if you watched my Kamala Harris on Joe Rogan super viral video, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's, gotta say it's over 5 million views across everywhere already. It did pretty well. CJ says there's adrenochrome in Danny soda. There is not. There's not. Sean, ground beef and mashed potato tacos. All right. That's an interesting combo. I'm sure it's good. But so they're saying they're having a Nazi rally, right? That's where we're at right now. Is we're 8 days out from the election. We're not 8 days out from the election results. That's for fucking sure. We are not 8 days out from the election results. We're 8 days out. We might be, how many days are we until January 6th? Fucking 4 months or something? 3 months? Yeah, we're 3 months out from January 6th. We might be 3 months out from the election results. God knows what is going to happen with this, right? But so they had their little rally. It was packed. Apparently there were 75,000 people who couldn't get in. I don't know if that's true. You know, people have the incentive right now to, fudge the numbers on their rallies. Why wouldn't you? Right? You're trying to, it's the final stretch. It's the final stretch of this election, of this race. Say that there was 100,000. It's not something that you can really count, but it was packed, right? I know some people who went, it was a fucking nightmare to get in. Like there were people lined up at 4 a.m. to get into this thing, right? So it happened. Tony Hinchcliffe was one of the speakers. Shout out to Tony. I'm a friend of, I know him. He's a good dude. Hung out at Skankfest. He goes, and this is kind of the fucking talk of the everywhere right now. Because this is the deal, right? Is everybody in any sort of left-wing press, they were watching this, waiting for absolutely anything to seize on, right? Anything. Absolutely anything. Like anything that happened, they're going to go, they're racist. Like I made a joke where, CNN was like, CNN was like, this is a racist rally or something. I'm like, you guys had this queued up before the thing even started, right? This was in the chamber, ready to go. But so Tony Hinchcliffe went up, which in my opinion, this was a mistake. This was a mistake. I understand what they were trying to do. They're like, we're cool. Here's Tony Hinchcliffe from the Tom Brady roast. But a political rally is not a roast, okay? It's not a roast. Most people there don't know who he is. He's not fucking Will Smith, okay? He's not Joe Rogan. Like, most people in attendance there are just like, who's this guy? And they're like, he's a comedian. They go, okay, cool, right? But again, you have to be conscious of the fact that if you're the Trump campaign, and I don't think, like, people are like, oh, they saw the jokes. They didn't see the jokes in advance. They go, this guy's funny. Joe Rogan, I'm sure, I think someone maybe, I read it somewhere, but the odds are Donald Trump was like, hey, Joe, you want to do a set? Joe Rogan's like, fuck no. But you know who might? Tony Hinchcliffe, right? So Tony Hinchcliffe goes up. And again, that is a tough gig for what he did. I thought he did pretty well. People are like, this is the unfunniest thing in the world. But he made this shot at Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. I didn't know that they were a protected class, Puerto Rico. Can't take shots at Puerto Rico. But he basically went on and he said that there's a floating pile of trash in the ocean. It's called Puerto Rico. And everybody's clutching their pearls over Puerto Rico. I don't, it's, again, like the joke, I heard that and I was like, you know, obviously it didn't do great. That's clear. It was a weird joke for all things considered because Puerto Rico's not really on the map as any kind of target. Now, he could have said Haiti, but that would be just a cheap laugh, right? Which I understand. I'm sure he had that conversation where he was like, you know, what joke should I make here? And he was like, you know, Haiti that's a little cheap. It's too easy, right? Understandable. And so they went with Puerto Rico. And then some people are like, yeah, there is an actual trash problem in Puerto Rico, but this isn't common knowledge. Does anybody know that Puerto Rico has like an issue with garbage and landfills and stuff? I don't know. This isn't common knowledge. So to make this joke, it just seemed like, oh, that was a weird shot to take at Puerto Rico, right? Didn't really make sense. And now Puerto Ricans are mad, which there's a lot of Puerto Ricans in New York City. I think New York City and Florida have the largest Puerto Rican population outside of actual Puerto Rico. And Puerto Ricans can't vote. The phone lines are not open, by the way. Phone lines are not quite open yet. I will open them at 12 minutes. I will open the phone lines, and then we will get to a couple of you borrowing time, right? But so, what was I saying here? I just saw a call. It derailed me. But so Puerto Rico, not a protected class. And it's bizarre for them to even get offended because, again, I know Puerto Ricans. They seem like some of the least, offended people around. Like, they're the ones, like, I made a joke about this. But Puerto Ricans are obviously Hispanic. I know some of them are mixed race, but most of the ones I know are Hispanic. And the amount that they throw around the N-word, I don't know if it's like this outside of New York, but in New York, Puerto Ricans use the N-word an absolute gratuitous amount, okay? It is insane how much they choose to use the N-word. Like, it's not a casual thing. It's a lot. Like, you ever see, like, Tekashi 6ix9ine? All the time, okay? Nonstop with the N-word. So for them to be like, oh, we're clutching our pearls. But if you go look at Tony Hinchcliffe, go look at one of his most recent Instagram posts, there are a lot of people who are like, fuck you, Tony, you disrespected Puerto Rico. I could see them being high on the honor culture thing. I could see them being very high in the honor culture where, like, you don't disrespect us. You scuffed my shoe on the subway, so now you got to throw down, right? But they're mad. I don't know how, like, it seems hard to believe that they're this mad. Because, again, if someone said to me, hey, Canada, where I'm from, famously, is a floating pile of trash or is a icy pile of trash, if Kamala Harris said that, for example, I'd be like, well, it's not. So, okay. So either you believe it is a pile of trash, and that's why you're mad. But if you don't believe it's a pile of trash, which is what I think most people who are from Puerto Rico think, even though most of them leave, there's, I believe, 5-something million Puerto Ricans in the United States, and there's like 3-something that are actually on the island of Puerto Rico. So most of them do leave. Why? I don't know. I'm not going to say it's because it's a floating pile of trash. I would never make a joke like that. I wouldn't do that, right? But they're mad. I don't know if it's going to sway anything, but definitely the media goes, oh my God, how dare you insult Puerto Rico, this tasteless comedian. So it was a mistake to have a comedian at a political rally, especially this close to the election. Because for what? He could have destroyed, as hard as he did at the Tom Brady roast, They would have got nothing for it. They would have still picked it apart. The carving watermelon joke, pretty funny. I said, as my black friend, we were carving watermelons yesterday. And the people are like, oh my God, carving watermelons? How dare you? How absolutely dare you? So, anyways, I don't know. It just is, it was kind of confounding. And we will open the phone lines in 9 minutes. Donald Trump was on Joe Rogan this weekend. Pretty good episode. I'm sure, I would guess almost all of you have seen it. Also, go vote in the poll that I threw up here. Will you accept the results of the election if your candidate loses? I imagine most of you are Trump supporters, but not all of you. And it's for a reason why I'm asking that. But so Trump, it came off as pretty reasonable and normal, which, you know, their whole thing is he's Hitler. And then he goes on this thing. He's talking about MMA, which it was the classic guy who actually doesn't know much, who's then trying to chop it up with someone who knows everything. So he was constantly saying shit that was wrong, but he was trying. He seemed like a normal dude, which honestly, for him to come off as a normal dude, a guy who's like, you know, that rich and has had the life he's had and that insulated and whatnot, probably pretty hard. Most normal people, I don't think, you know, could do that. Like, I mean, you see Kamala Harris, she's been this career politician. She only hangs out with probably famous people. I don't imagine she hangs out with normal people anymore. And I don't think she could do that. But anyways, I thought he just came off as pretty reasonable and normal. It was fine. He did 3 hours. You can't find it on YouTube anymore, which is really insane. Now, again, Google is, I believe, the biggest donor to the Democratic Party. But if you go search, this thing has 35 million views. If you go search Trump Rogan right now, the only thing that comes up is other people's clips or even the Jerry channel clips. But the only way to actually find the episode is to go to Joe Rogan's channel, which is crazy. Obviously, something's going on. I've seen multiple theories of why that is. Someone's saying like bot farms were basically mass reporting it as spam. But again, if YouTube chooses to allow that to happen, right? Like they have a system in place. Like at some point, if a video has, I don't know, 20 million legitimate views with all unique IP addresses, maybe it can't be spam anymore. Maybe you can't game the system and not have it come up. Right? Doesn't seem an unreasonable thing. And that was one theory. That was probably the best theory I saw, other than straight up just people who work at YouTube don't like Trump. They like Kamala Harris, and they want Kamala Harris. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it is just as simple as that. I don't know. But I would love to see Kamala Harris do 3 hours. It would be unwatchable. It would be unwatchable. I know she went on Shannon Sharp's podcast today. I didn't get a chance to watch that. But it would be terrible. I don't know. So, currently the poll, 135 of you have voted. Not that many. Will you accept the results of the election in your candidate? Yes, 54%. No, 46%. I posted this on X, formerly known as Twitter. Right? Let's see what it's at right now. I posted this earlier today. It's at 2,500 votes. We have yes, 43%, no, 57%, which I very much think this is really what's going to happen. I don't think anybody's accepting the results of this election. Nobody. I really don't think anybody is really going to... Now, I know obviously we're about 50, but there was reports today of ballot boxes being set on fire in the Northwest, Oregon. Oregon? Is that how you say it? Oregon? How do Americans say it? I'm Canadian. But ballot box being set on fire, obviously the idea is that Republicans did that. At least that's the, some crazy crazy MAGA guy, which, why the fuck are you leaving ballot boxes out overnight? Is it so easy to just go light ballot boxes on fire? Seems like it should be hard. It seems like it should be not that easy, especially in this country with all the rhetoric around stolen elections. And I've said it before. Joe Rogan said it when he interviewed Trump. You can't believe that there's zero malarkey going on, right? You can't. Obviously, something's happening. There aren't zero people doing nothing. But they're just, you can't imagine that this is like I believe the current over-under on the election being called is Saturday, November 9th, which I'm really hoping that is the case, because I will be on Jimmy Fallon's show on Fox News doing a post-election recap. That's Saturday night, 10 p.m. on Fox News. But I don't think it's going to be done. I really don't think it's going to be done with. I think this thing is going to go forever. We are going to be talking about this for, months. And even if it's a blowout election, nobody's going to accept it. If it's a close one, they're definitely not going to accept it. But this is going to be such a fucking pain in the ass. Not Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon, the comedian. He hosts Fox News Saturday night at 10 p.m. I believe it's at 10 p.m. It's a live show, too. So we'll see. I will not be challenging the results of the election on Fox News because I got them in a little bit of trouble, if I recall. Those voting machines, good stuff. Cannot fuck with those voting machines. They're unfuckwithable, as you say. Washington Post. So, Washington Post, which used to be a newspaper. It did used to be one. I do recall it at some point being a newspaper. Never read it. We covered on the Boys Cast. By the way, on election night, actually, I should mention this. At 10 p.m. on election night, we'll be doing a Boys Cast live stream. So make sure to subscribe to the Boys Cast YouTube channel. We'll be starting at 10 p.m. live stream. We very rarely do live streams. Very rarely. So come check that out. It'll be a good time. I don't know how long we're going to do it. Probably a few hours. But come check that out. But so the Washington Post, which is not a newspaper anymore, it's activism. It's like CNN. It's like, it's like pretty much most, there's not really independent journalism anymore. Well, there is. They're just people on Twitter and shit. But so there's a big to-do because everybody's like 200,000 people apparently have canceled their Washington Post subscription. The best part is everybody, because so they didn't pick a candidate. They didn't make an endorsement for presidential candidate. They're owned by Jeff Bezos, who famously started, what was that website? Amazon. But so people are mad, right? People on the left are like, why wouldn't you endorse our candidate? Well, they feel wronged. Like it even matters. Obviously, if they're endorsing a candidate, it's Kamala Harris. Also, what kind of fucking brain-dead moron can't make up their mind and needs the Washington Post to be like, hey, we're endorsing Kamala Harris, everybody. There you go. We're endorsing Kamala Harris. So sorry we made you wait so long, but you can now vote for Kamala Harris. There you go. I'm sorry. But so some people were saying, it was a hedge for the owners because the LA Times also didn't endorse a candidate. They go, oh, this is a hedge. They're worried, right? They're worried that Trump's going to get in power and then he's going to start fucking up their lives, which is, I didn't buy that. I didn't buy that for 1 second, right? And again, all these people canceling their Washington Post, they're so mad at you, Washington Post, which is funny because all these journalists are resigning. They're not going to find work elsewhere. There will be no work for Washington Post. What are you going to go work at fucking BuzzFeed? Is Vice hiring? Like, it's not like this is it for you. And you know what? Props to them. Legitimately, props to them. Because like they're not finding work anymore. You're not in some on the up and up profession here. You are a activist / journalist. I put the activist first on purpose. You're not a legitimate journalist. You're not. And you work for the Washington Post. Journalism is dying, especially mainstream media journalism. It's dying. So I guess good, but those people are 200,000 people. They're not canceling their Amazon Prime. God forbid. No. I need batteries, and I need them at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning delivered by some migrant. So they will not be doing that, which is funny. Some will, and those are the people who I feel the worst for. I don't really feel bad for them, but the people who are like, ugh, I fucking hate Donald Trump, and now I don't get to have Amazon Prime. Fuck Donald. Like, literally, that is... Man, imagine you hate Donald Trump so much that now you don't get to have Amazon Prime anymore. Like, that sucks. Amazon Prime is so good. It is so good. It is incredible. If you live where they deliver Whole Foods too, it is the best. Saves you so much time. Some guy just comes and just like fucking Santa Claus, just drops it off at your house. But anyways, Jeff Bezos, he put out a little piece, I think just not long ago, essentially saying, nobody trusts the media anymore. This is what he says. In the annual public survey about trust and reputation, journalists in the media have regularly fallen near the very bottom, often just above Congress. Ouch. It's true, though. They've absolutely, Trump destroyed them. Trump destroyed their brains, which then caused them to destroy themselves. And now they don't have Amazon Prime. So real domino effect going on here. But in this year's Gallup poll, we have managed to fall below Congress. Our profession is now the least trusted of all. Something we are doing is clearly not working. Let me give an analogy. Voting machines must meet two requirements. They must count the vote accurately, and people must believe they count the vote accurately. The second requirement is distinct from and just as important as the first. Likewise, with newspapers, we must be accurate, and we must be believed to be accurate. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but we are failing on the second requirement. Most people believe the media is biased. Anyone who doesn't see this is paying scant attention to reality. And my favorite part of this, and those who fight reality lose. Reality is an undefeated champion. Which, that speaks a lot to a lot of shit that's going on. Because there's a lot of people who, in a lot of things, are just not willing to accept this is how reality is. They're just like, this is how I want the world to be. I vote because this is how I want the world to be. And go, hey, it's not how the world is, though. You can want it to be a certain way. That's fine. But it isn't that way, right? It's just not. So, and again, this guy's a businessman. He started arguably one of the greatest companies in the world, one of the most important businesses in the world, Amazon. He's just figuring it out. He's not doing this for the money. He doesn't own Washington Post because he's in it for the big payday. This is nothing. It's probably, if anything, this is a fucking nightmare for him to deal with. Probably wakes up some days wishing he didn't do this. I'm sure he must, but he's just like, look, you can't, what is the point of having this anymore? You guys are just activists who just put out news that is not objective. It's however you feel. It's however you feel you want the world to be, right? For example, women in men's sports. That is a very good example of people, how they want the world to be versus how it is. People want the world to be women's sports is just as good as men and women can compete with men. People want it to be that way. That's fine. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. But so he's pissed off a lot of people. Some people are like, oh, he's a hedge so he doesn't get imprisoned if Trump wins. No. That's just not what it is. So anyways, and we're going to cover one more thing, and then I'm going to take some phone calls. So Nick Bosa of the San Francisco 49ers, last night, he's famously a Trump supporter. Like he's one of the guys who, even when it was not, because it's become a little more acceptable now, like Harrison Butker and lots of people who are kind of, you can openly support Trump now. It doesn't really affect you the same way it did 4 years ago, definitely not 8 years ago. But so he, last night on Sunday Night Football, put on his MAGA hat in the after show interviews, pointed to it. And, people made a, I think, fair comparison to the Colin Kaepernick thing. Now, I will say, Joey Bosa was the 2022 Defensive Player of the Year. He is elite. Colin Kaepernick was not elite. Colin Kaepernick was absolutely not elite. He was middling quarterback at best. But, there were a lot of people on the right who were saying, keep your politics out of sports. Fair argument. But now when Nick Bosa is wearing his MAGA hat, people are like, that's awesome. We need more of that. So, and obviously he's not going to have any repercussions, because the main difference, and again, Tom Brady could have done any shit that Colin Kaepernick did on the field. He might have had some issues with endorsements or whatever, but he could have done whatever he wanted. He wouldn't have gotten in trouble at all, because he was, arguably the best at his position, and he won. Colin Kaepernick, his last year in the league, I looked it up today, he was 1-11. Now, I don't know if, again, that might not be specifically on him. It's a team sport. But Nick Bosa is the best at his position. But anyways, it is something to think about, because obviously some people who were on the right, who were, burning their Nikes clownishly when Colin Kaepernick was doing that, are probably now being like, that's awesome. So, all right, let's take some calls. We'll get to you in order. We're not going to get to all of you. I apologize, but I'll get to as many of you as I can. Let's go with the first call of the night. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man? Who am I speaking with?
Oh, this is Logan.
Logan,
sorry,
what's
I'm
up,
smoking
man?
and drinking.
All
doing
good,
my
man.
thing. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Hope you are too.
I'm good. How you liking the new changes?
I was just going to bring that up. I was going to say, screw low value male. It's more like medium value female now. Am I right?
Oh, no. No, you take that back.
You got 1080p with good audio. Oh man, you got your video playing on the call, so I know where you are.
The audio is the same. The audio is nothing changed with the audio. I just literally, I just threw up a light behind me, and I got rid of the background. I was agonizing over the background. I'm not going to lie, but I decided to get rid of the low value male apartment. I know it is medium value male now. I know
it does look really nice, and you are doing. I don't know. Just I'll use this time for selfish reasons. You're doing well, man. You're blowing up. I'm happy to see it, and I know I'm just a viewer, but it's exciting to watch.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm just
you're getting on real shows and shit. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, if only I could blow up. This show.
Hey, no, I need to take that back. You're getting on real shows. Your show's a real show. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that was a misspeak.
Yeah. No, this is a real show. No, I know that my show's a real show, but it's so hard to grow a podcast, man. Sometimes I'm just like, man, do people not like call-in shows? I don't know what it is. I know everybody who watches this likes them, but it's a tough thing to grow. But this is partially why I changed the format, because I'm like, this needs to be a little more closer to like half podcast, half call-in show.
Like Giannis Pappas Hour kind of vibe. I'm getting the feel.
Kind of just something along those lines, just so I can have some clips and stuff that I can post, and just
absolutely
just something. But yeah, man.
But I mean, I could ask you one question if you want a legit question.
Absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I need to, we've probably talked about this before. I'm sorry. Your opinion on Trump Vance versus what theoretically could have been Trump RFK Jr. I think the latter would have been a phenomenal combination, and it's a shame they couldn't come to an arrangement in time.
Yeah, you know what? I think they kind of have the best of both worlds here because they have RFK, obviously not as VP, but they have him kind of in the fold. So, and it seems
I
like
hope he's in the cabinet.
Yeah, it seems like that's a kind of a lock that he will be involved in the cabinet. And it does seem like anecdotally from what I've read and seen that people who were going to vote for RFK Jr., which was, at one point that was double digits. I don't know if it
Me too, man. I'm voting Trump instead.
There you go. Right. So you kind of get JD Vance, which is, the more JD Vance, everybody was kind of killing him for JD Vance at first. They were like, this guy's...
He was a rando, but they didn't have time. And I'm sorry to speak over you.
No. Like, I mean, they were saying at first, they were like, this guy's the worst candidate. Now, mostly that was from left-wing press, but they were like, this guy's a terrible candidate. He made a huge mistake, all that stuff. But the more interviews he's done, the more you're like, yeah, this guy's pretty good. Seems pretty sharp. So
yeah, watched him on a couple of shows. Seems like a normal guy.
Yeah, I think so. He just seems like a normal dude. And that's the one thing is Harris and Tim Walz, they just cannot figure out how to just seem like normal fucking people. Like, do you see that shit where they were playing?
Not.
Do you see where they were playing Madden yesterday? They were playing.
No, okay, I haven't seen that one.
So I tweeted about this yesterday. The two of them were playing Madden on Twitch on NFL Sunday. Okay, so you're like, who the fuck is going to watch this? I went to the stream 3 hours in. It had 8,700 views. This is AOC and Tim Walz. I don't even know if they were even playing. First off, he was 0-0 after one quarter. I'm like, you can't beat AOC at Madden? Like, even if you never played, you were a football coach. And then he made some comment. He tweeted something which he deleted, which was he called something like the pick six play or something. You're like, no, pick six is not offense, or like it's pick six is what happens when a defensive player intercepts the ball and runs it back for a touchdown. Like, he didn't even know the terminology, and this guy's supposed to be like a football coach. It just they're just getting killed. I can't really explain what they're doing. This was such a probably it wasn't high profile enough where they can just forget it happened. But if this is any kind of indicator of the temperature of things, they were just like, hey, fellow kids, come watch us play Madden. And people are like,
exactly.
Oh, fuck that.
Button up Hawaiian shirt, shades on, looking 57 in a high school. Totally natural.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I don't know what they're exactly thinking, but it's not working. But again, we'll see. You never know. Like, women vote like crazy. Democrat women vote like crazy. If Kamala Harris were...
Don't get me started.
I know. And
the
like
number of Harris signs.
Right. Where do you live?
Oh, I'm in Washington, Southwest Washington. I'm a delivery driver by trade. So I see there's not a lot, but I see them all. And they are all just like not savory people would be a really nice way to put it.
Sure. But they're going to vote. And I mean,
but they're going to vote. Yeah.
I've said this, like people, especially with the poly market, like the betting markets, people are thinking, hey, this is a lock. I'm like, this is not a fucking lock. If Kamala Harris like smokes Trump, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, I would have some questions, and I'm sure a lot of people will. Like, they maybe be like, that's not legitimate. I don't know. I'm not going to go there right now. But if that's the outcome, I wouldn't be surprised. Anyways.
Depending on the gap, I will be suspicious, but I will withhold judgment until I get enough information to make a real assessment of it.
Sure. The problem is you're not going to get real information because if it's no matter what, if Trump loses, he's not accepting the outcome of this. There's zero fucking chance of that.
He was a gentleman last time, but again, just to repeat myself, if it's like 5 million more votes for Harris, people are going to be like, hang on, like none of the polls reflected that. Right. How many Harris voters do you know?
Hey,
it's going to be one of those things.
Polls were famously wrong in 2016. So
that's true. You can use that both ways.
Right. Like it goes both ways. All right. Thanks, man. I got to let you go. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. All right, Logan, everybody. We're going to take another call here. One moment, please. Hello.
Hey, Danny. How you doing?
What's up?
Hey, this is Charlie from Florida. How's it going?
Charlie from Florida. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How's it going? I like the new format.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I've been agonizing over this. I've been thinking about this for literally months about how to improve this show. So this is kind of a culmination of a lot of that. But how's it going, Charlie?
It looks cool. I wanted to get your opinion on that. I mean, I know you covered the Tony Hinchcliffe stuff at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
get
your opinion, like as a comedian. Like, are you kind of disappointed or like upset at the amount of? It seems, and I'm just kind of going by Twitter now. The amount
a lot of
comics.
You're going to say a lot of comics are shitting on him.
A lot of comics really coming down on Tony.
There's a lot of people in comedy who don't like him, right? For obvious reasons. I will say one big factor, and they would never admit this, but they're jealous of his success. They're like, there's very much a thing in comedy where people are like, I'm funnier than that guy. Why does that guy drive a fucking Bentley and I'm a barista? Right? There's tons of that shit.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So there's a lot of people who don't like him. There's a lot of people who are just like pretty left-wing comedians who are like, I don't care for... Although, I mean, this joke's been made many times, but I don't know a single person who has given disabled people more job opportunities than fucking Tony Hinchcliffe. Okay. Like I was at the after party, the Kill Tony after party at MSG. And I was I was making a joke about it, but I'm like, man, the lineup for the handicap bathroom, I've never seen a lineup that long anywhere, any party I've ever been to. Like, like, you know, but again, like that is part of the show, is like bringing on these fucking like crazy.
And he is helping them. Like he
is helping them. They're helping him. I'm not going to be like, this was his original goal, was pure altruism. Right. And he just wanted to help handicap people, but he is. But I mean, look, there's a lot of people in entertainment who have people they don't like, especially super partisan people. Like, you know, if you're a big time Democrat comedian, which there's tons of those, he spoke at the fucking Trump rally. Like, that was a literal Trump at MSG that, you know, mainstream media was comparing to a literal Nazi rally. Right? So they're like, they probably didn't like him originally, and they're enjoying. But again, he's going to suffer zero repercussions from this. Like, I'd like to be clear. We're 8 days out from the election. If you think we're going to be talking about this in 3 days, I would be shocked if this is even still a conversation. Trump's having a campaign every night. There's going to be new shit. We're not even going to be talking about this. He's not going to have gigs canceled. Nothing. Like, first off, he has a fucking YouTube channel. That's his show, is on YouTube. You can't take that away from him. I mean, I guess YouTube theoretically could, but they won't, because it would just be like too high profile of a thing to do. But you can't take it away from him. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, comedians famously talk shit about other comedians. I mean, even before Kill Tony. Even before Kill Tony, I've seen so many people be like, I fucking hate Joe Rogan, like hate him so much. Like, yeah, people have their opinions and there's different camps. So, but I don't think he'll suffer a single consequence to this.
It's funny. Yeah. It's just funny that too. Like, I think like one of the things I was thinking about, like real quick, like the root of all of it is like this idea that you can't make fun of a person or a thing without hating it. I was thinking about that. Like, isn't that like kind of the root of like all of this? Is like they make it like if you make a joke about a person or something, it means that you hate the person or you hate what you're making.
I mean, they do hate him. I mean, they definitely, the people who are making fun of him, they hate him, but they're just enjoying, you know, the backlash to him. But if anybody is so delusional to think that like this is going to sway the election in any way, I'm not buying it. Again, it's 1.1 million Puerto Ricans in Florida. I'd be shocked if that turned blue. So that's pretty much regardless of what the Puerto Ricans think. And probably most of them are Trump supporters and are probably just like, whatever. It was a fucking joke that bombed, you know? And then in New York, New York's very unlikely to turn red. So if they want to go for Kamala Harris, you know, they're saying, oh, there's 300,000 Puerto Ricans in Pennsylvania. Maybe like that could sway some of them. But for this to be the thing that actually decides the election, his just joke that didn't do well, that wasn't even really that bad.
and tons of them probably do have a sense of humor too. You know?
Yeah, I mean, again, I said it, like the Puerto Ricans I know are not thin-skinned at all. Like these guys will fucking annihilate you for anything if you're kind of hanging out with them. So I don't think so. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I think we won't be talking about this in 2 or 3 days. I mean, we stopped talking about the Trump assassination 6 days later when Biden announced he wasn't running. You're trying to tell me this is going to get more juice than the Trump assassination attempt?
True.
Seems hard to believe.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for answering my question, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Later, Charlie. Charlie, everybody. All right, we're going to take another call here. I'm not going to be able to get to all of them, but I will do my best to get to as many as I can before 10 o'clock strikes. Hello, conspiracy extremist. What's up, man?
What's up, Danny? How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. So I know you're just touching on Tony Hinchcliffe. I just want to say I'm kind of like you know how Tony's kind of closeted gay.
He's not gay, by the way. I found this out recently because it just spread among comedians where everybody's like, you know, he's gay. And then someone recently was like, he's not gay. And then he was at Skankfest with Lauren Boebert.
You're ruining the joke, man. Come on.
Oh, okay. Sorry, man.
No, I was going to say I'm actually closeted a fan of his. Cause I know you're supposed to, even on like the far, not like the liberals, but there's a lot of people like you're just talking about that don't like him. I saw him live in Phoenix, and he's really fucking funny. Like I actually am a fan.
He's like one of the best joke writers. Like whatever, you might not like him personally or whatever, but it's like, yeah, he's a good comedian. I mean, I don't even know like what, because he had a bad joke at a fucking rally, so that's it for him. Like I don't know. I mean, Joe Coy fucking ate shit hosting. I can't remember what he hosted, the Grammys or something. It's like he's a fucking amazing comedian.
It wasn't even bad. Like his whole thing was funny, and he rolled with the punches. And then when he's like, "Oh yeah, I see what you like," and he just went with that. I mean, the whole thing. I mean,
it was funny, a weird joke because Puerto Rico is just like not really a punching bag for anything ever. So it kind of didn't make sense to me because I was like I said after the beginning, I'm like, I don't know that they have some famous garbage problem or anything. So like there was no reference really there. Like for example, you know, he did the carving watermelons, and like obviously there's the black people love watermelon stereotype. So you're like, you can connect the two things. This I just like. Well, I think it just seemed like a just out of nowhere shot at Puerto Rico. But again, it's like it was nothing.
Well, it's probably because the actual people are trash. I think that's what he was trying to like.
I don't even think that's what he was saying. I don't even think he was trying to be like I don't like. I didn't get that from that where he was being like, "Oh, Puerto Ricans are trash." It just seemed like a really out of nowhere kind of move, personally. But
I don't know. I liked it. But okay, so I wanted to ask you. So I'm stepping back into my conspiracy extremist mind, being a conspiracy dude.
Sure.
And so I'm like, I can't decide whether or not I think that the quote unquote deep state just wants Trump to be the next president, because it's so freaking obvious with all the shit they're doing. I mean, he's going on these podcasts and he looks like a human and he's just killing it. He's campaigning really well. Or the other thing that I think is, they're making it seem that way just so they could do another like middle of the night like jump. You know that famous
of course,
jump in the middle of the night.
Yep.
And just to demoralize us even more, saying, "What are you going to do about it?"
That would be my more likely scenario. But again, how many times can you say, "What are you going to do about it?" before someone is like, "Okay, we're going to do something about it." You know what I mean? Like you're kind of playing with fire there. Now, again, I don't know. Like the people, like I'm certain that if Trump wins, there's going to be crazy protests in New York City. There's going to be destruction of property, maybe violence. I don't know. But generally, the right doesn't do that stuff. So it is somewhat out of their character, people on the right to do stuff like that, in my opinion. So maybe they're banking on that. I don't know. Or maybe it's just a totally free and fair election and just whatever happens, happens. I'm sure a lot of people are probably rolling their eyes right now on that one. But I really don't know. I can't imagine that the quote unquote deep state is loving that, you know, again, they tried lawfare on him. they maybe tried to kill
Well,
him twice.
I would think my conspiratorial brain would say that they've probably got him, like they've made deals or whatnot. So he's gonna go along with whatever they want, and he's gonna win. And it's gonna seem like inflation's less and things are a little better, but they're gonna take advantage of him and use him to, take more control over, our country.
I mean, he doesn't seem like the type to play ball that way for the people who have been literally trying to ruin him. But maybe, I mean, these people have been trying to literally destroy him. He's saying, we're going to be coming after these people if I win. So I find that one.
Not really on his thing on Joe Rogan. He was like, oh yeah, the FBI is really great. And, there's good part, not the people at the top, but blah, blah, blah. It does appear to me, maybe I'm crazy or whatever, but it does seem that his rhetoric is starting to, like, he praised the Secret Service, and I think they might either have something real, like, valid on him, or they have some sort of like actual threat, like, hey, we're just playing around with the first shot and the other couple ones. You better bow the knee or else.
I mean, maybe that's crazy where they're like, hey, we'll let you get elected, but don't fucking go too far out of line or we'll kill you. I mean, look, if they had something if they had something on him that could, disqualify him from getting elected, they would have done that, and they didn't. So
I don't know. Well, here's the thing, dude, is because so many people I don't know anyone I'm sure you probably know people in New York, but I don't know any person, even like my super liberal parents, that they're not voting for him, but they're just not going to vote because no one's voting for Kamala Harris. So
they
are. I think there is
lots of people are voting
not
for
my
Kamala.
Parents.
Yeah, maybe not your parents. And again, you live in I guess, do you live in a red state?
It's Arizona. It's purple. But no,
purple, yeah.
But like people who are like, my dad has a signed book of Barack Obama in his office. These are the people I'm talking about. I'm sure there's radicals that like not radicals, but people that for sure. 100% are voting Kamala Harris. However, I think there's a lot more people that would just vote blue no matter who are now going to abstain from voting this time. So it does just the whole atmosphere, the vibe, I would say, is like, there's no way that she can win.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely not no way she can win, but I mean, people are voting for her. Like, look, she's having rallies. There's lots of people showing up for them. To ignore that is, I guess at your own peril. But
I agree.
Is she having enough to get past the finish line? I don't know. We're going to see some shit in the next week, though. Yeah. Like, there's going to be some curveballs, I'm sure, and some stuff that probably is not expected. All right, I got to let you go, man.
Yeah, okay. All right, later.
Conspiracy extremist, everybody. All right. So we're going to go into a quick 5-minute break, and then we're going to be roughly 5 minutes, and then we're going to be back with Jared Klickstein after the break. If you're on the line, I would recommend hanging up and calling back in if you want to talk to Jared. I'm sorry we couldn't get to your calls, but there just was not enough time. In the meantime, on the break, I have a clip from last week's episode of The Bathhouse that you can watch to amuse yourselves. If you've never seen The Bathhouse, this was a pretty funny clip. And we'll be back in 5-ish minutes. See you, everybody. Now you all know my dark and dirty secret that I was peeing. We got Jared, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Looks like our mics weren't muted, so now everybody knows that I was urinating. It's very embarrassing.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure all this stuff out. Because this is but yeah, look at you. You caught me taking a big old piss. Jared Klickstein, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah,
thank you for joining me.
Here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. I was, as mentioned earlier, I was listening to you on Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast episode from pretty recently. So for people who don't know you, because you got a pretty interesting story, I guess just tell people who you are.
Yeah, my name's Jared Klickstein. I wrote a book called Crooked Smile what it took to escape a decade of homelessness, addiction, and crime. So yeah, basically I became a heroin addict at 19 and eventually became homeless on Skid Row multiple times. And then a lot of funny things ensued. And I eventually went to jail and got off Skid Row and got sober and turned my whole life around.
Sorry, just knocked out the fucking video. This is a process. Here we go. My foot got caught on the cable. All right. So what exactly was the funny parts? I mean, it's cool that I guess you're on the other side of this now. So you can kind of see the humor in it, I guess.
Yeah.
And, you know, you obviously made it out and all that. But what is living on Skid Row like? And how long were you doing that for?
Yeah, I mean, it's for sure funnier now. It was pretty fucked up when I was there. I was there for about a year from 2011 to 2012, and then I wound up back there on 2015 to 2016. And in between that was homeless in the Tenderloin in San Francisco. Skid Row, I mean, listen, it's pretty violent. It's pretty, decrepit. It's pretty nasty. It's not incredibly fun being a small white man on Skid Row,
Sure.
but I had a pretty good time. You're pretty taken care of. You got food, you got tents, you got sleeping bags, you got drugs, you got, food stamps, you got everything. So it's not terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I remember seeing something that was like online about like people had like generators and like flat screen TVs. I can't imagine that's the norm, but it does seem like some people, try and make it as comfortable as possible.
Yeah, that's sort of a new thing. So when I was homeless there in 2011, it was just a different time, like you couldn't leave your tent erected overnight or during the day. You had to break it down, you had to carry it around. There was, the police would arrest you. You couldn't just steal whatever you wanted. When I went back in 2015, it was different. You could leave your tent erected during the day. You could steal whatever you wanted. And then in recent years now you can like hack into the electrical system and run a generator or have a TV in your tent. I mean, that's sort of a new post-COVID thing.
Sure. And so, and why do you think it became, I guess, like so much easier, or I guess like, so much less hassle for people to live out there? Like, is it just politicians?
I think the politics changed. I really do think it ties in with like Occupy Wall Street, and then later on like the Ferguson, Missouri protests and all that. I mean, the politicians just became a lot more lenient. They passed certain legislation like Prop 47 and SB 1380. That's California. Prop 47 essentially legalized shoplifting. SB 1380 ceased to provide any state funding to any program that was requiring sobriety for shelter. So there just became, Gavin Newsom, I think in 2014 said sobriety is the biggest damn mistake this country ever made, which is a really weird thing to say because we've made a lot of mistakes.
Sure.
So I don't know why he said that, but there was just this general rejection of recovery, sobriety, shelter, because it wasn't working incredibly well. So they went the opposite approach, which was like, do as thou wilt. And as we've seen, that hasn't really worked out at all.
And so, I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of theories on what maybe the best options are for how to deal with this as someone who's kind of been through this. So what are your thoughts on kind of like if you were in charge, what would you do? Because I'm from Canada, and Western Canada, famously in Vancouver, has had issues like this for a long time. Right, like the East Hastings Street in Vancouver has this like basically this like flea market every Sunday, and it's the street where all the heroin users. There's a park right there. They kind of let it was like Amsterdam from The Wire. They kind of let everything just go there. And then they have this flea market every Sunday, which is just all the stuff they basically stole all week. And they just let them, they go, we'll give you one day where you guys can just like do your thing. So I can't imagine you think that's the best option, but how do you deal with this?
Vancouver's definitely had an issue for a long time. And we sort of followed in the path of Vancouver and sort of emulated some of the policies and strategies that the Canadian government tried. Yeah, so that we're doing that right now in San Francisco. It's like an open flea market every day. Just you can buy stolen goods. For me personally, what happened was I ended up going to jail. I don't think jail is the solution. I don't think we should just like put everyone in jail, but jail, unfortunately, was the best option that I had, and I turned my life around in jail basically, and then I got out and went to a long-term treatment center, nonprofit, and that's really where I got off drugs in jail, but I sort of learned how to maintain a new lifestyle in this long-term treatment center. So I think the solution is really to reinforce the laws. If you're smoking crack in a playground, you should probably go to jail. If you're selling fentanyl, you should probably get arrested. You shouldn't be allowed to steal anything. But instead of putting you in like prison, if you have a drug problem, we should mandate you to a long-term treatment facility where we, encourage various therapeutic treatments and also job training to sort of get you kicked in gear to be self-sufficient, if you're capable of self-sufficiency.
And what if you're not capable? Say you're not capable of self-sufficiency. What percentage of people would you say are not capable of self-sufficiency?
At this point, maybe 60%.
So, okay. So that is not, I was thinking you were going to say like something in the teens or something. So what do you do in that case? That's a lot of people.
Well, that's the thing with fentanyl, people are becoming permanently unemployable basically, because a lot of people are like losing hands or losing feet, or a lot of people are losing their mental faculties from meth abuse, because this new meth is just incredibly different, as a compound compared to meth 20 years ago. What do we do with these people? We're going to just have to create or reopen sort of mental facilities. I mean, mental health facilities. And maybe, there's different levels of them. Some of them are, you get treatment and care, but you get to go work at Walmart or something, but these people just sort of need to be taken care of in some capacity. And I know people are like, okay, that's going to cost an incredible amount of money. We're spending so much fucking money right now. I think if you just diverted all of the money that we're spending towards actual, positive ways to address this, we'd end up saving money.
Yeah. And like, I mean, that's such a huge percentage of people where, all these amenities that kind of you're saying that are being provided, where is that coming from? Like, who's kind of covering that? Is that just the taxpayer?
Yeah, well, there's this thing called harm reduction, and harm reduction started in late 1980s in Seattle, and that was not publicly funded. That was like a nonprofit situation, private donors, and they would like hand out needles so people wouldn't spread HIV. That has morphed into like $1 billion industry that is completely funded by government contracts. So, like, for example, the city of San Francisco is like, I don't know, it's like 800,000 people. They're spending $1.1 billion a year, and a lot of that money is going to grant, or it's paid to these nonprofit groups through grants, and they're handing out, sleeping bags and crack pipes and things like that. And I'm not against handing that stuff out. I'm against spending $1.1 billion in a smallish city to do that.
And like, does any of the harm reduction, in your opinion, because that's a big thing in Canada. Like, I remember Vancouver was one of the first places to open the safe injection sites, and that was a whole thing. And I have a friend; she's actually a doctor, and she works with a lot of like drug users, and she's very much says it's definitely a good thing. But do you find like that works? Because you were saying actually on the Matt and Shane's podcast that jail was actually like a good thing.
Yeah.
But is that what percentage of people is that the case for?
Well, if you go to like your average NA meeting, the majority of people you'll see there are people that like went to prison, and they're like, that's where I finally like achieved enough consequences that I decided to turn my life around. Consequences really drive people to change their behavior. So what we're doing is, now I'm not for like, okay, let's not just like throw people in a dungeon because they smoked weed or something like that. But when you remove the guardrails, the natural guardrails that society hold for people that are doing antisocial behavior, they're left with zero consequences, and it's basically like a race to them just dying at that point. So you need some consequences. You need some guiding force to encourage good behavior, reward good behavior, and punish bad behavior. In terms of the safe injection sites, I mean, I get it. I'm actually pro like handing out Narcan and things like that. Like, I don't want people to die. If you
Sure.
die, you have zero chance of recovering. I just don't think it should be like celebrated, and I don't think it should be encouraged. And I think if you get Narcaned, like I have friends that have been Narcaned and then they just get let go and then they just go kill themselves an hour later, and they died from fentanyl. So if you get Narcan, there should be like maybe like a week, like, okay, you have to stay in this holding tank where we're going to detox you from fentanyl. This is your fourth time this month getting Narcan. There just needs to be some kind of like direction of like, okay, you keep doing this, there are going to be consequences now. And it's not a punishment. It's really like, we're going to mandate you to a situation where you're going to begin to get off drugs.
Yeah. Does any state do that?
No, I mean, I've been homeless in Florida where like obviously it's the opposite of California. There you just kind of go to jail. And
Yeah, you just go to
I don't think that's perfect either. But I mean, listen, I had a really good time in jail and it was like incredibly positive for me, but I don't think I'm like most people. I think most people do not have a positive time in there. I think if you're kind of like an idiot, you go in there and you feel acceptance for the first time, and maybe you join like the Aryan Brotherhood or you join like the Southsiders or something, and you just kind of devote yourself to a life of crime.
Yeah.
At that point.
You had a really good time in jail?
I had a good time because I was homeless on Skid Row, so this was like an upgrade. Like I got a pillow and I got cookies every day and I got friends.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, I had to join like a gang. I had to join like a white gang.
This is
like
in California?
This is in California, yeah.
Yeah,
And,
isn't that's
yeah.
how it works there, where it's all race based in the
Yeah, it's
prisons?
completely race based. I'm Jewish. I don't know if you could tell by my name,
Yeah, it seems pretty
but
Jewish. Yeah.
yeah, I'm actually half Jewish, half Irish, but whatever. I got the Jewish last name. So I thought that was going to be like a really difficult time for me, but it turns out people were pretty nice and pretty cool. They're just trying to have a good time.
Yeah, they're just trying to like kind of get through it. And so you had to
Yeah.
join up with the Aryan Brotherhood?
I joined the Peckerwoods, which is sort of like the umbrella group for all whites, and then the Aryan Brotherhood are within that umbrella in the California penal system.
And they like kind of give you a easy time?
Well, I don't look Jewish, so I went in there and pretended I was German for a few weeks, and then I found out that there was a kosher meal, and the kosher meal is the most valuable thing in the California prison system, food wise. So when I found out there was a kosher meal, I figured maybe it's okay to be Jewish. I asked some people. There was actually another guy in my dorm, this old guy that got the kosher meal. So that's how I figured out about the kosher meal. And he said, "Oh no, they're totally cool. The numbers are pretty low. They've made like a decision 10 years ago that Jews were cool.
The Aryan
It's not,
Brotherhood said that Jews are cool?
well, like you can't join the Aryan Brotherhood, but they'll be friends with you
Yeah, yeah. They're like,
as long
'cause
as you
they're-
don't look like Harvey Weinstein. I mean, you gotta like if you
right.
physiognomy,
Yeah,
unfortunately, it plays a large role in
like if you
every
look like the
facet of our
Grabbler,
lives.
it's not
Yeah,
it's not going well for you, basically.
So
That's
they went down and they were like, all right, you're white, basically.
sure. And the reason for the white thing is because if shit kind of pops off, like they need you to be on team white essentially, because it's just everything's so racially
Yeah,
divided.
it's sort of just like a protection thing. It's really a respect thing. They have this thing where like there's like dorm wide rules, like you have to wash your hands after you take a piss, and if you don't, you may touch something, and then a Mexican guy might touch that same thing, and someone might say, "Hey, that white boy didn't wash his hands after he pissed and he touched that door," and then you have a race riot basically. So there's all these rules, and you're not allowed to fight other races. If the other races have a problem with you, they bring it to their shot caller, and their shot caller talks to your shot caller, and your own race punishes you out of respect for the other race.
So like kind of make sure shit doesn't get too crazy. Like they almost take care of it internally. Like is that the
Yeah,
reason
yeah,
behind it?
it's all taken. It's basically all taken care of internally,
And you
and
were
it actually works pretty well.
yeah, and you were in for a year?
6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Yeah,
That-
not that long.
Yeah, that doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah.
I got a question from this is from Sean from Pittsburgh. He says, "How would you go about alcohol reduction?" I don't know if you ever had an issue with alcohol. Are you completely sober right now?
Yeah, I'm completely sober 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on alcohol reduction?
Alcohol reduction, like this person drinks a lot and they're trying to reduce their alcohol consumption.
That's what I assume. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty hard. Listen, I drank heavily as like a teen but what oh sorry. But once I started doing heroin, I really never touched alcohol again. But heroin is like I mean, alcohol is like a physical addiction. It's really tough to reduce. If you can maintain reduction or by changing from like hard alcohol to beer and you can like maintain your life like that, then like go ahead. Go. God bless you. I know people that have done that, but in most cases, if you are an alcoholic, the best solution is probably just to, abstain from alcohol completely.
Yeah, but it's like the only one that actually I think you can die from going cold turkey. So, and it's everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And benzos.
And benzos. Oh, right. And benzos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
in terms of like, homelessness, how hard is it once, because I'm sure you've seen this a lot, like how hard is it to get out of homelessness?
It's really hard.
Once you're in?
Yeah. What's interesting is I was homeless one time in New York City in 2014 maybe, and I don't know if I know that you've like lived in New York, right?
I've only lived there for 5 years. Yeah.
Okay, so this was 2014. This was Mayor Bloomberg. It was a completely different New York. Like you couldn't hop the turnstile without going to jail. It was like kind of a fascist New York, but it was also like a very well, the city ran really well and there wasn't a lot of crime, but you couldn't be homeless. So I became homeless and I was like forced to go to a shelter and just sort of like forced to go get like a dishwashing job and then find a room for rent. And I just maintained not being homeless just from those guardrails being up. In California, you can sort of just be homeless. And that's sort of the hardest part about getting out of homelessness is that being homeless is so possible in California. But where do you start? I mean,
the weather's good. I always thought, like, I know obviously it's probably hard to go from New York to California if you're homeless because you got to travel there and it costs a bunch of money. But it seems like if you are homeless, that would be the most ideal place to live, just weather wise.
Yeah, for sure. Like San Diego or Los Angeles, probably. Yeah, and but it's really hard. It's like, where do you start? I mean, how do you get a job if you're homeless? It's fucking really hard. I mean, how do you get the job if you're addicted to heroin? It's really hard. I mean, you look crazy. You're smoking, I smoked crack. I did meth. I wasn't really in like the right mind frame to get a job and like lift myself up. But there's a lot of shelters, and if you can like get into a shelter, there are programs, and you can sort of get some help, printing out a resume or something, getting a job. But it's fucking the most difficult thing, you could imagine. It's tough.
And did you regularly see like migrants who were homeless? Is that a common thing? Because I know in New York City, I had a friend who made a documentary about the homeless situation in Toronto, because Toronto has all these shelters where they'll just turn you away. But I believe New York City has a thing essentially where they never turn you away from shelters here. Like they will find you a bed. Was that the experience you had here? Like, because I know that's the issue currently with the migrants in New York, is because New York has a law where it's like, we guarantee anybody who wants a bed, and then it's essentially being used like not the way it should be used. But
yeah, they're trying to get that done in San Francisco, where it's like, as long as there's an available bed, like you cannot be homeless. So like they can pick you up and be like, you can't be homeless here. We have a bed for you. You have to accept
even
it.
If that's like a hotel.
Yeah. Like I'm sure that especially during COVID, San Francisco, rented out a lot of hotels. New York had a huge shelter on like 30th and First Avenue or something like that, right by that mental hospital. And I always got a bed. You had to wait in line sometimes, but I never saw migrants. I got off the streets. The last day I was homeless was August 9th, 2018, sort of like before this whole wave of migrants. I don't really, in California, I never really saw this whole migrant crisis was having. I never really saw them in California, but that's probably because they don't really need them in California.
Right.
If you're into like the conspiracies of like why they're coming here, they're not.
Sure. I mean, people who watch this definitely are, I'm sure. This is a stupid question from the chat, but I'll ask it anyways. Do you wash your legs?
Do I wash my legs?
Yeah.
Like now or when I was homeless?
No, right now.
Right now, yeah, I wash my legs.
All right. It's a question that we ask a lot of guests, mostly on my other show, but people want to know. People,
you know what? You know what? That's a good question. I don't know if I do. I just thought about it.
Like you
Sometimes I don't.
Yeah. I
It's
don't,
like a
I tried to start and then, it's hard, man. It's like flossing or something. It's just hard. It's hard. It's a hard habit to just start washing your legs. I don't know. It's just never in the top of mind.
I know. I got to
That
think
was from
about that.
That was from Logan. He's enjoying that I asked that question.
Okay.
Do you currently work with like homeless people in any capacity?
No, I wish. They won't hire me, and they won't hire me in California because I'm like the enemy, sort of. Like I am the Candace Owens of homeless people in their eyes. Um, I'm
Why is that
supposed
exactly?
because I lean a little bit more conservative in my approach to like how we would solve this. I mean, or they would box me into a conservative box. Um, I'm associated with people like Michael Schellenberger. He wrote
Sure.
the foreword to my book. Um, I have more I have more liberal views on it than him probably, but
And what would you
yeah.
say your just a quick like synopsis of your views on this entire like I guess addiction and homelessness?
Oh, I think it's like a societal. I think it's like a almost like a spiritual issue in this country. I mean, this country has been, um, the middle class has been decimated, and people have just lost a lot of hope. Obviously, like West Virginia has some of the highest rates of addiction. The opposite of addiction is almost like connection and hope. You need some hope. Uh, and I mean, even me, I try to hold on to hope, but yeah, we just have a terrible, situation where we had this amazing country where we made cars and we were industrious, and a lot of people don't have that anymore. And then the timing of it was just crazy with like the onslaught of Oxycontin. And I think a lot of the opioid crisis I mean, it's this isn't a hot take, but is a result of like big pharma and kind of unleashing Oxycontin on the country. And right now, there's so much more money in maintaining homelessness and addiction than there is alleviating it or fixing it. Fixing homeless drug addicts takes a lot of work, whereas maintaining them is easy, and you can just cash those checks from the local governments.
And are people like making like is there like a homeless industrial complex where people are kind of like incentives are off, I guess, where people are not being incentivized to fix it versus just maintaining it?
Yes. So with the passing of SB 1380 by Gavin Newsom, and I think it was 2014.
That guy's my mortal enemy, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, he's not great. He's not a great guy.
He's trying to make all my AI videos illegal.
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, he's changed his tune recently, but obviously he's like a sociopath, and he's just trying to like, he's blowing in the wind a little bit. But so with SB 1380, that was really like his war on sobriety and recovery because he went to rehab. I'm from the Bay Area.
Gavin Newsom went to rehab?
Yeah, so people don't know this, but he was the mayor of San Francisco, and I grew up with Gavin Newsom, and he had a big sex scandal while he was mayor. He was sleeping with his what do you call that? His campaign manager's wife.
Right, yeah.
So he kind of did like this early move. He kind of pulled a Tiger Woods before Tiger Woods, where he was like, "I'm an alcoholic, actually. That's why I did that."
Right.
He went to rehab. I don't think he enjoyed rehab. I don't think he's an alcoholic, probably. So he probably hated rehab, and he became like really anti-recovery for some reason. And
sounds like he's just trying to save his ass.
Yeah, exactly. So ever since SB 1380 passed, there's been like an incentive to not encourage recovery or sobriety when addressing addiction in California. So just imagine you live in San Francisco and you want to start a nonprofit to help homeless drug addicts. You could build a rehab that like gets them in there and gets them sober and stuff. You won't be able to get funding for that. So if you want to get funding, you have to start something that promotes harm reduction, meaning you hand out needles and things like that. So you can get $1 million contract by just buying a van and saying, I'm handing out needles, and you get $1 million contract. So there's an incentive for these people to do this. But here's the thing about fentanyl. People don't shoot fentanyl. So fentanyl really comes onto the scene in like 2018, 2019. People smoke fentanyl. So this is a big problem for the harm reductionists because there's no more need for needles. There's not as much need for needles. So now the harm reductionists hand out tinfoil and crack pipes.
That's crazy.
And tinfoil, you can't spread a disease by sharing tinfoil. So it's really kind of like, it's over. Like the concept of harm reduction is over if you're handing out tinfoil.
So then what are they trying to do now to kind of keep the gravy train going? Like,
Well, it's kind of falling apart in San Francisco. I think like 9 of the like huge nonprofits are like under federal investigation by the FBI, and it's really collapsing. The local elections on November 5th in places like San Francisco and Oakland are going to be pretty crazy. I mean, San Francisco last election round passed a what do you call that? Like a law, not a law, but like a, whatever, a thing on the ballot was,
sure.
should we require drug testing to receive welfare benefits? That passed by with 64% in San Francisco. And that's one of the most conservative welfare reform propositions in America's history.
Yeah. So
And that
people are
passed.
kind of just, yeah, they're going, we've gone too far with this. I mean, in Canada, like they basically decriminalized all drugs in British Columbia,
Yeah.
and for like a year, and then they're like, that didn't work at all.
Yeah, they did that in
'cause
Portland.
Yeah, because Ontario was going to do it, and they were about to go through with it, and everybody in BC was like, "Don't do this. Like, we're telling you, it doesn't work." And then they eventually decided to not go through it. So I imagine you're not pro drug legalization.
Well, I like Portugal. I like what their model is. And everyone says we're imitating Portugal by decriminalizing drugs. And it's like, yes, Portugal has decriminalized drugs, but they also have a system where you can't just do drugs in a playground. Like you go to jail for that. Like, and in fact, they'll snatch you up and they'll put you in front of a board of a doctor, a judge, and like a police officer, and they kind of decide your fate. And your fate is typically you're mandated to a long-term program where we're going to teach you how to like weld or something and like get you off the streets and off drugs and put you back into society.
Seems like a pretty good system, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. I believe that anyone should be allowed to do drugs in the privacy of their own home, as long as you're not infringing on the the rights of anyone else. I think you should be able to do drugs.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, when I leave the studio, I'm by MSG, and like I've left here many times, and just there's like I remember recently I went walking to the subway, and there's this guy just like blood running down his arm, and they just like he was just doing heroin like in the subway, just kind of unbothered, nobody bothering him.
Yeah, like, and people would say like, "Hey, that guy's not bothering you," but it's like, no, we can't have that. There's kids, and our cities and our society are built for everybody, including children. Children can't see that, so that guy's can't be doing that.
All right, let's take a call here. We got a couple from earlier. We'll see who this is. And yeah, one moment, please. If you're on hold, make sure to press, I can't remember what it is, *6 or something like that. We will get to you. And the phone lines are open, 1-888-949-2969. All right, this person is, *6. Sorry, I'm mistaken. All right, well, this person's not picking up. Let's try the next one. No, I did say that. That's what, okay. Hello, you're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, yo, what's up? Just so I guess, hey, can you walk me back from my stance on making NARCAN illegal? Because you're talking about how dudes just get I've seen in person someone get NARCAN and they just get all pissed off and like
they get pissed off?
Yeah, once they wake up, they're like, bro, you ruined my high.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so your stance is that you want NARCAN to be illegal.
I mean, I'm just being like extreme.
Yeah.
It's just like most extreme. I'm not being reasonable right now saying that.
No, that's okay. Listen, I'm not offended at all by that opinion. A lot of people have that opinion, and frankly, it may be partially, it may be somewhat deserved. Yeah, man, I've been NARCAN and been pretty fucking angry about it and been a piece of shit. Been pretty mean to the people that just NARCAN me. The only thing that I would say is that if I were you, I would maybe say like, okay, I support getting NARCAN, but once you wake up, you have to like go to jail for a week, or you have to go get mandated to like a long-term treatment center or something. Like we can't just be NARCANing. I mean, there's people that get NARCAN every 3 days, and that's just been their life the last 2 years.
Is there a tolerance to it?
There's no tolerance to it, but it's not healthy to die like every 3 days. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, you get brought back to life, but like I know people that have been Narcaned that like have brain damage from being dead for 4 minutes, so it's not really like a cure-all. Maybe we can settle on this. You can get Narcan 4 times, and then after that, no more Narcan.
How does that sound, Slav?
Well, I mean, we're reaching middle ground. I mean, what is it? Did you want like saying I was the one who was on hold and I ever heard like would the guest like to say where he lives? We live in the same place.
Oh yeah, I live in Austin now.
Yeah. It's disgust. Like when I see it, like when I lived back in Houston, I also had to volunteer with like the homeless and stuff.
Yeah.
But and then like coworkers I've had since I moved here in like 2019, and I'm explaining to them like, how can normal people who consider themselves like kind and tolerant get through their head that there are people who they're like I group the homeless into like 3 groups. One is the people who literally are doing everything they can to get out of it. 2, people who refuse to help. They're competent and capable, but they refuse to help. And then there is that last third part that you were talking about, the ones who are just completely just gone. Like they have
just mentally, like mental illness kind of gone.
Like they can stand up and walk, but they're like a mule, a donkey is more useful than this human being. Like we have those. I mean, dude, I say all this because when I see like these drug addicts, it makes me physically disgusted. Like I get a feeling inside where I'm like, it's just you're making humans look bad, bro.
What, Jared, what percentage of people who are like on the streets are not using drugs? Any? Like what percentage of the homeless are not?
In terms of visible homeless, it is definitely the majority. There are people when I was homeless that had become so mentally ill from doing drugs that they were too mentally ill to continue doing drugs. I mean, they couldn't even do drugs anymore. So but there's a lot of people that live in their cars and stuff. So I like the way that he broke the 3 groups. That's like genius. That's correct. A lot of the people in the first group that are like doing everything they can to get out of homelessness, a lot of those people like live in their cars and they like do have a job and like they are trying to get out of homelessness.
And how easy is it for them, for those people who are like not really, have serious drug problems, are trying to like, is the infrastructure in place for them to be able, because you hear people are like, I don't have a PO box where I can't get mail and like that prevents me, and I just have all these like structural issues. Like are there things in place for people like that to be able to make it out?
Yeah, well, those people are the easiest to help because they want help. Are there programs? I mean, yeah, like in Austin, we have this thing called Urban Alchemy, which has its problems, but like you can go there and like they'll give you a place to live and they'll help you sign up for like temporary housing that Texas will pay like a year of your rent or whatever. And like they'll get you in there. But also in Austin, it's like it's a lot easier to get an apartment in Austin than it is in San Francisco or Oakland because of renters protections. Like renters protections actually hurt renters. This is like this new thing that I've discovered.
Sure.
Like
in what way?
Like rent control hurts renters because landlords are so scared to rent to people. Like where I live, you can, like in Oakland, you can just not pay rent for a year and like the landlord can't do anything.
Yeah, that's what Toronto's like too.
Yeah, so when that happens, you get a situation where landlords will basically only rent to like Asian students.
Right.
Or like white people.
Right.
Like they just become incredibly racist, basically.
Sure.
And,
I mean, New York City I saw someone did a video on like there's all these buildings in New York City that are just empty because they're rent controlled, and the owners of the buildings just will prefer to take a write-off.
Yeah, prefer to take a write-off, yeah.
Just a tax write-off on the loss versus renting it out.
Yeah, that's a little off topic, but listen, I understand where this guy's coming from. It's like, what have we become? You go downtown Austin, it's like there's crazy guys, like some of them got machetes sometimes. They're just, it is kind of a disgrace to humanity. And like, at some point, is it like, can we fix these people? Is it really worth spending billions of dollars to house them in some kind of mental facility for the rest of their lives? I mean, this guy sounds fed up, and he deserves to feel like that.
Yeah, and it used to be they would just put them, they would lock them up, right? Like that's what, like 50 years ago they would just lock you up.
Saying fed up is putting it lightly. So I'm just throw that in there.
Yeah, and is it generally like it's just a liberal versus kind of conservative divide on this stuff? Like more conservative places tolerate.
Yeah, it's a pretty ideological divide where there's something happened in like the mid 2010s where like there's this influx of college graduates with like worthless degrees that like can't get a job anymore. I'm one of them, you know, like, and this like whole new field opened up of like nonprofit, like let's help, you know, protected classes. And then homeless drug addict became a protected class at some point, essentially, ideologically at least.
Sure.
And,
I mean, when you're thinking about like quote unquote punching down or whatever, they're pretty low on that tier, I suppose.
I've been told that my homelessness was a result of capitalism, you know, by these people trying to like help.
You're going to make Slav's head explode.
So like, obviously that's not true. If anything, capitalism is like, you know, a pathway to rising out of poverty. I don't know. So it's just crazy. These people are fucking crazy that work in the field of helping homeless drug addicts because they're essentially communists that hate America and capitalism, and they want to destroy. They view these people as victims of America, victims of.
And the problem is, in their minds, they're actually, you know, being the most kind of altruistic. But it's one of those things where you're like, you're not doing them any favors. They're like, oh, we'll give them drugs until they get better, and you're like, no, I heard you say on the Matt Shane's, you're like, the worst thing if you're a drug addict is if you have like one of your parents who just bails you out, so you can just keep doing more drugs versus
it's terrible,
going to jail, right?
Yeah. Fortunately, both of my parents were heroin addicts. Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to throw out like one suggestion. I'm pretty sure you've heard this before. So back in my shithole of a country homeland, like Russia? This little place called Russia. Yeah, they what is it? This is what I always was warned. Like if I misbehaved as a kid while I was on a green card, that I would get sent back to Russia, and I would have to join what they have in the military called Strombat. And it's literally, so back in the Soviet Union, basically once you graduated high school, you were either already prepared to go to a university and study what you've been on track for, or you're going into the military. And if you graduate and you're in neither of those tracks, they put you in this thing called the Strombat. And it is literally it is literally the guy swinging hammers, breaking rocks, digging ditches, building roads for like.
It's like chain gang, basically.
Now, chain gang. Now, this is Danny's show, and Danny's a comedian. Now, I've heard many American comedians make the joke, I don't care if you call it hack or not, about making a homeless division of the military. Now,
I've never heard that. I've never heard that.
Yeah, no, I think this is like, I think it was like Chris Titus. Or, dude, multiple comedians.
20 years ago?
Joke. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, or what are you going to erase all of history? No, but what is it? Many comedians have made the joke that, we should just take all of these people who can't function in civilized work fields and societies. Now, I do like the whole thing of teaching them how to weld and construct and everything, but do remember those trades are also filled with drug addicts, mostly meth.
Oh, yeah.
So.
That's the thing. There are all these jobs. Like, I mean, again, I heard you say on but like there are a lot of skilled jobs where people are high or drunk all the time that they are managed to do. Like, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like we had a guy who called in my other show he's like paints homes, and he's just like, and he drinks like, 24 beers a day. And the worst thing that ever happened is he just ruined his jacket. Like, getting paint all over it. He's like, he's never really had an issue. Not that that's, you don't want to operate heavy machinery probably, but so what you're saying, they should have a homeless division in the military?
Well, no, I mean, maybe not like don't militarize them, but just like literally just like, just I don't know, just make them dig ditches and break rocks and create gravel or something. Like,
But what happens if they say no? Like you're essentially saying like this would be kind of, you know, somewhere of what they would do in like China or Russia or something, a more authoritarian place where they're like, hey, we're going to put you in,
I mean,
you know, a camp.
That is what they do in Russia.
Yeah.
That is what they do in Russia with the Wagner group. They go to the prisons and they get people off the streets and say, like, look, you got 6 months on the front lines, and if you survive, you can either stay along with us and choose any continent where we deploy, or we can send you back, give you a clean record, and, you know, you could be
well,
hired
that's
for,
a
like,
different
some
incentive structure because these are people who are currently in prison. Like if someone's, you know, living on Skid Row in a tent and just gets to do drugs all day and they're fed and, you know, I don't, what's the danger level of living on Skid Row? I imagine somewhat dangerous.
Well, the good thing about Skid Row is everyone's like a crackhead, and crackheads aren't very strong. Like but you could get stabbed. I mean, people get stabbed a lot, but you know, you make it.
Yeah, you can
Can
make
they
it.
can they aim a rifle?
I mean, and not if you're currently on fentanyl, you probably can't aim one, but if you got detox, you probably could. I like what you're saying. I've talked to Curtis Yarvin about this, and this is kind of like what his like approach is like. We need like, okay, like we're building a new highway through Arizona. Get out of your tent. We're putting you on a bus to Arizona. You're going to build this highway.
And they've actually done that?
They could do the demolition part.
Oh, okay.
No, they should do that.
They could do the demolition part. I'm not gonna entrust them to do the engineer to make sure that the road is fine.
But I guess
it's labor.
Yeah, my question is, what happens if the person says I'm not doing that? Then you
jail, I guess.
Then jail. So eventually it still just reaches like the ultimate punishment. I suppose.
At what point is it where like we're gonna reopen the asylums, and then anyone who can't be held in an asylum, we just drop them in the middle of the desert? Just, bro.
I mean, that is what they used to do, though, right? Like, if you look at the incarceration rate and the asylum rate, it's like it went the other way. They just started closing asylums. So that is kind of, and it seems like prisons now are just where, you know, if someone has a mental issue, they just put you in jail. And
I mean, what is it?
See you there.
The thing is, I still possess humanity in my heart. I'm trying to like make every suggestion before the point of saying like, well, what are we supposed to do? Like shoot them, feed them to dogs? Like, I don't want to say that, even though I just said it, but I don't want to say that. Like,
no,
I like what you're saying, man. You're Russian. I mean, my uncle's Russian. My uncle was in the Russian military. Like, you know, you sound like what my uncle would say, and it's sometimes you need someone to say that shit.
Yeah, you need some old world consequences. But yeah, I mean, go ahead, Slav.
What is it? The other part is, how can we get bystanders to also be upset? Because I live in Austin, and there would be people who are just like me, normal, civilized people with their own lives going on, and they stand there and they tolerate like drug addicts in their face, bothering them, and they're all quiet and huddled. And I'm the only person, like, dude, I take public transit because I don't want to drink and drive when I go out. And but I'm like, bro, what? Like, I talk back to them. I'm like, bro, like, knock it off. That's me being polite. Just telling them to knock it off. But I don't get as upset at the drug addicts as I do at normal people, like bystanders who just sit there and don't do shit. I think what's more important now is like bystanders to start like publicly chastising and shaming all these. Bro, I'm calling them junkies, dopeheads, whatever. We need like bring back shame, bring back bullying. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, again,
I agree.
Yeah,
everyone's done way too soft.
Yeah, that's a problem. Does that work? Like if someone's deep in throes of
shame works.
Opioid addiction.
Well, it helps. I mean, I got shamed out of existence. Like my family didn't talk to me anymore. It all builds up, and it all helps you eventually realize, like, okay, I was a baby one time with, nothing, I wasn't a bad human. I didn't have any, I had good morals. I was a child, and I've turned into this. I mean, you had to get shamed into it. You can't be drug addiction, conquering drug addiction and having a mentality of victimhood is, that is the worst direction that you can go or lead someone to. So yes, I mean, I really support shame.
And it does seem like, to agree with you on that, like it seems like when someone is, on drugs, they kind of are like, you're a victim.
Well, yeah, that's everyone is, yes. And that is like the worst mentality that you can train someone to believe if you're trying to get them off drugs. I mean, it's the worst. And yeah, man, I don't know. The real enemy though is not these junkies, and it's not even it is the bystanders to some extent, but it's the politicians this is like a choice. The way that our cities operate is a choice. It is a policy choice. And now you can get mad at the bystanders for voting in people like Kirk Watson and all that, and he's the mayor of Austin. But they're the real enemies are the other politicians that are lying.
But again, they're getting voted in, so obviously the majority of people who vote probably agree with them for whatever reason.
Well,
yeah,
Jared, thank you for verbalizing how homelessness is an industry, the exact same model as that cunt Mother Teresa. Cunt Teresa. Like they predicate themselves on the existence of a problem. It's like basically like ADL and NAACP, SPLC, all these homeless initiatives. Once all these problems get solved, what are they going to do? Nothing. They're like they perpetuate these problems. But I'm glad that you pointed it out.
Yeah.
All right, Slav. Thanks, man.
And thank you for your vote. I know how you going to vote, bro. Thank you for your vote.
Of course, brother.
Yeah. Later, man.
I'm registered in Oakland, California, though. So
yeah, it's not going to do much. All right. Thanks, Slav. All right, Slav, everybody. All right, let's take some more calls here. Let's see if I can try this guy again. He's been on since fucking an hour and a half, but. Oh, there we go. Hello. You're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with?
Hi.
Hello.
My name is Shavonne. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey.
I was referred to you by a friend, and she was saying that you guys talk about the homeless crisis and everything that's going on. And I'm currently in California.
Okay. Well, then you picked a good episode to call in on. I said you picked a good episode to call.
Yeah, I was pushed out of my house because my landlord claimed to be selling her property because she didn't want to do repairs, and the ceiling literally fell on my 7-year-old, and we was like that for a whole month, and she did not do, like, she was trying to get out of repair, so she was trying to throw us out illegally. I had to go to court, and the judge basically only honored us like a little bit of time to, basically get out, and our rent was paid every month. We didn't miss not one payment. It was just my landlord was slummed, and she didn't want to fix anything. So this is her MO. She does this in the past. She has done this in the past, and she hasn't been stopped. And I just don't understand how people like her get away with things like that, because now me and my family is homeless, and we have nowhere to go, and it's really, really sad.
That's surprising for California that they allow that there.
Yeah, that happened in California.
Yeah. Yes, I'm in California.
What part of California?
That happened in Fairfield, California.
Fairfield.
Yeah, I'm in Oakland right now, but
oh shit,
it happened in Fairfield. Huh?
What part of Oakland?
East Oakland.
On International?
No, I'm actually like by the 90s. So I'm sitting in my van right now. So I really don't want to say exactly the location because there's weirdos out there. So
yeah. There's a lot of weirdos listening to the show. That's for sure.
So I don't want nobody trying to come find me or do nothing to me and my family. So anyways,
Fairfield.
So
So that's Contra Costa, right? That's Contra Costa County?
No. Alameda County, Oakland, by San Francisco.
But where's Fairfield's in Alameda County?
No, Fairfield's Solano County.
Solano County, yeah. So they have different rules. If that had happened in Oakland, that you would have probably become a 100,000-aire.
Most definitely. Solano County, I found out a lot of information during that process that I've actually called an attorney in Oakland because none of the attorneys, like the tenants' rights people, none of them wanted to help me. Like, I have every piece of document that back my story. I posted it on Facebook, TikTok. I posted it everywhere, my story. And when I tell you, I called every news station. I've called like that in that area, you know, and I feel like they pushed me, you know, they didn't want to hear my story because it wasn't something that was, that fit their narrative, you know, and I just, you know, the cold part about it is that, like, I lost my daughter last year, and around Christmas time is the time that I moved into this place. This lady, my 7-year-old, he's autistic. He wrote a letter to Santa and wanted a place, you know. So she basically seen our story in, my son's letter to Santa, and she, you know, claimed to help us, you know. And I moved in a house that she let us move in as is. The carpet, everything, nothing was clean. None of the walls wasn't painted. Nothing was right. But we were so happy just to have a roof over our head that we didn't care. You get what I'm saying? And $5,400 was given to her for us to move in that place. So she didn't give us no like hookup, or she didn't like, you know, none of that. It was all, the full amount was paid to her in full, which I have proof of as well, to move into this unit, you know. And she never stopped making me feel like she just saved us. Like, if it wasn't for me, you'd still be in a motel, you know. So you got to stop complaining like stuff that would need to be repaired. Like, we have mildew, visible mildew. I have to call the city on her for her to come out to fix the leak. The leak ended up turning into a ceiling completely dropping on my 7-year-old. And so that's what basically when the city came out. The city wouldn't come out any other time for the leak or nothing. When that ceiling fell is when they decided they was going to come out and make her repair that ceiling, which the people came out, and it was visible mold in the ceiling, on the floor where the carpet was. When they pulled that carpet up, it was soaking wet because we used every towel, every sheet, and everything to put on that floor to keep us from walking in puddles, okay? That was from June 3rd all the way to July 16th is when they start the repairs, okay? And then clearly all that time, you know, I got text messages where she was trying to, you know, lying, saying that the people were telling me that they was going to red tag the unit if we didn't get out.
What's that red tag?
Hell.
Like condemn it?
Like she thought, yes, she was trying to get them to condemn it to make us get out. Like,
and why does she? For that too. Sorry, caller. Why does she want you out if you're paying your rent? Like, she just doesn't want to make any repairs?
Yes, that's what it was called. It was called a retaliation. When I went to legal aid, the reason why she couldn't throw me out is because it was called a retaliation for repair. So she basically was just trying to throw us out because she didn't want to do the repairs. So I got that letter from legal aid, and I got the letters from the what is that, code enforcement, the housing department.
Yeah,
that basically made her do the repairs. And then she cut the water off on us. She stole the hot water heater. Basically, had us thinking that the hot water heater was going to be replaced right away, because where the hot water heater was, it was all molded and really, really bad. I got pictures of that. The plumber claimed that he said, oh, well, we're going to remove this hot water heater to put a new one in. And once we remove it, we're going to paint it and all the stuff, and we're going to bring it right back. So it didn't get brought back. I had to call the sheriff and the water company because she cut the water off on us in the ground where the water company cuts it off. I called the water company on her twice because she did it twice to us, okay? And they made her cut the water back on and return that hot water heater. This lady is demonic. She's evil, and I promise
you. What's her name?
I don't want nobody else. Huh?
Yeah, we got another name.
What's that?
I can't hear you.
What's her name?
I didn't hear what you said. Oh, her name is Vicky Johnson, And the cool part about it, she's an agent for Remax.
That's fucked up.
Man, I was guessing Indian.
I was guessing more my people, but yeah.
No, she's black. She's black.
Oh, that's fucked up. And so you have, and I guess the problem is you don't really have any recourse, because even if they, find in your favor, like, this process could take a year, and what are you supposed to do in the meantime?
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, Jared, this is seems like really in your wheelhouse. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, I would contact the San Francisco Tenants Union. And although this didn't happen in San Francisco, I think they would definitely know who to connect you with, like lawyers. And not only that, you could then go to San Francisco and they could probably lead you in the right direction to get temporary housing while this case is getting carried out. But the San Francisco Tenants Union.
I'm telling you guys, I've tried numerous things. When I tell you, I applied for, it was some type of housing program with through it's called the Family Resource Center in Solano. I didn't know that I was moving to a city where they basically went bankrupt years ago. They basically they don't have money, so they really don't have resources for families. Okay, this city is literally, this county is usually, literally for retired people or people that have money. Like, you have to be rich in order to be living here or have money, to live here, because if you are shit out of luck or on your butt, you're just shit out of luck. So that's why I'm saying, in the meantime, while we were going through court battles and stuff like that, I could not find a place. My husband ended up losing his job. He got laid off because of all the stuff that we've been going through. And once again, like I said, I lost my daughter last year. So I've been, me and my 7-year-old have actually been going through intense mental health, because it took us months to get mental health. Okay. Mental health is another crisis that's hard to get. And when you are going through a lot, I lost my dad a month ago. It's been hell, and for me to be a mother that always had it together and, had answers and stuff like that for my kids. We actually moved back out here from Las Vegas. And when we came here, we didn't know we were moving blindly into a situation that is horrific. I didn't know it was going to be this hard. And this is where I'm from. I was born and raised here, but it is so bad here now. And it's I did not know that, like I said, Solano County is the worst county anybody could ever live in if you don't have, if you're not set, okay? And again, like I said, I've said, posted all this stuff with receipts, everything. I even got almost banned from this one app called Nextdoor. It's a neighborhood app where, in that area where I was posting up her picture, writing little letters and stuff like that, putting the letters up from the city, putting everything, all my printing up. And they tried to silence me and block me because I was trying to expose this lady. And it's almost like they're protecting her. I said, so you rather than her do it again to someone? This is why she keeps getting away with it, because it's all about money with these people. If you pay this person, oh, be quiet, don't say nothing. It's like they scratch each other back. They all work together. Not to mention the judges out there are they're landlords. So they work with these slum landlords, okay? And they don't make them take accountability. That's why she get away with this. My neighbor on Sunday, she came over to the house where we were staying at, the landlord did, and she started remodeling this house after we moved out. And my neighbor told her, she said, "You're going to hell." She said, "The way you did that family, knowing what that lady went through with her losing her daughter, her autistic child, then, starting to get established, and you did that to them, you're going to hell."
That's so crazy.
So she went off on her. And she told her, you're gonna, her karma is gonna be horrific. And for her to wait till we moved to start doing remodeling, I feel like, she's very demonic. And it's okay. I believe in God solely. And I know that, our situation is temporary. We don't have help. We don't have much help. But,
this is Vicky Jackson, Remax Gold.
Yep. That's her.
And this is so crazy. I mean, you have honestly the quintessential story of like, Jared could probably confirm this, but like just slipping through the cracks. Like this is when they say that.
Yeah.
I feel hopeless.
Well, there are resources out there. You just gotta, go hard on. I know that there's like a hotel right by the Coliseum where they've kind of like reserved for homeless families. I mean, you just have to. It's a pain in the ass, but there are resources, and you just gotta like jump through a ton of fucking hoops and eventually get a lawyer.
Yeah, I've been out here. I've been out here applying. I've been trying to get help. Being the fact that I'm a Solano County resident. When you're not a resident of certain counties, they help their own people that live in that county first. Just like with Vallejo, when I went to Vallejo, which is another city over to them, they told me they couldn't help me because I wasn't their resident. Like, so I came here thinking that because, I was born and raised here, that I can probably get immediate help. That's not the case. I got to go through steps because there's a list and of other people that's already on the list that they're helping them, that was before me. So they get to their people first, and then they get to the people that's outside that's coming in from another, other places. And it's like I said, it's very unfortunate. Like, and I'm not, mad at these people, because it's not their fault. The people that should be taking accountability for it is Solano County, because they allowed her to do what she did to us, and now we are left out in the cold, and then, sleeping in the van. I have a child that's autistic, okay? I've begged and pleaded for help. And I'm telling you, I feel like, and then my mental health is not all together, so I'm trying to keep that together and trying to keep my mental health together. Losing my parent, I have not even, that I'm grieving. I can't even grieve my parent in peace because I have to deal with this, stay strong for my kids, and then living this way.
Jesus. Do you have any social media or anything? Do you have social media?
Yes, I have a TikTok.
Do you have anything? Okay. If you find me on, I think I have TikTok, Danny.jokes. Just DM me on there, Danny.jokes, and all the money that we raise from tonight, I'll Venmo you. Or
which one?
From the show. The show that it's not going to be much on TikTok or Twitter, Danny Jokes, or
TikTok.
Instagram.
Okay.
Or if you have Instagram or Twitter, Danny Jokes, Instagram or Twitter, and anybody
you can actually. Okay, let me look you up. Hold on, Danny.
Yeah, Danny Jokes. Anybody who donates any money from the show tonight, I will send to you because this sounds fucking horrific.
If you go to my I just followed you. If you go to my page, you're gonna see my story. And you're going to see that I'm not full of shit. I got all.
You don't sound like you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Vonnie?
Vonnie, yes. Vonnie.
Okay. Yes. I just followed you back. That sounds honestly like a fucking. Oh yeah, here's Vicky Jackson. I see her. Vonnie? Who are you voting for?
Trump.
All right. Well, that'll get you more money from if the chat doesn't fucking start dropping some super chats for that, then I don't know who my audience is.
Explain to you guys real quick why I'm voting for Trump. And
how could you not after hearing this?
I never voted before, you guys, until Trump started running for president. I've never been a voter. I've never been a Democrat. I've never been anything until he started voting. He started running for president because he's not a politician and he's a businessman. And when he was in office, we was not in no turmoil. We wasn't in war. We wasn't like, we had more jobs here and we had more housing programs. And not to mention, right now, because Gavin Newsom passed a law where they have to pay all the workers $20 an hour at the restaurants. Do you know these people are closing up their restaurants? They are putting machines in there. They're firing people. They're not hiring. And DoorDash, Uber Eats, they're not hiring because they have limited drivers, because there's not a lot of people that have money to buy food because it's going all the way to the illegals. They got all the damn money, the food stamps, the cash aid, all of that is going to the people that's not even from fucking here. Excuse my language.
No, preach.
It's really
Go
so
for it.
sad.
Go
and
fucking
then
nuts.
The cold part about it is that Obama got his dumb ass up there and try to ridicule black people for not voting for that stupid ass witch face bitch. She is a fucking wicked ass, evil, demonic spirit. She has no soul. She has black in her eyeballs. You can't even see a soul when you look into her face. Okay, I don't mean to go off like this. I'm sorry. I'm the way I'm talking.
No,
but
go for it. By the way,
like I'm a victim.
Vonnie, sorry to cut you off, but for the people who are watching the show right now, there's some donations coming in. I'm going to match whatever they donate. So whatever they donate, it'll be double, and I'll send it. I'll send it over to you right after the show.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
But
yeah, I mean, it sounds like you have had literally just one shit sandwich after another. And how do you feel about the fact when you see someone, coming over the border and they're taken care of? It must infuriate you because you are the actual people. You can say whatever the fuck you want. This is on YouTube.
I feel like if I had enough money or armor, I'd probably go to the border and you know what? Okay, that's how I feel. Okay, and the thing is, the American people, and this is my thing, okay? Whether you voting for blue or red, we are all American people. Whether whoever becomes the fucking president, we all are going to be affected. Yep. It's not going to be one-sided. Kamala's not going to come to your fucking door, knock on your door, and invite you to dinner. Okay? You're going to go through the same fucking thing we're going to go through. So if you think that this witch is going to help you guys, you got another fucking thing coming. And to the black people that think you're getting reparations, you're dumb. Okay? If we haven't got reparations yet, we're not getting them.
Vonnie,
point, period, blank.
Yeah.
Okay,
Vonnie, honestly, you're making a lot of fans right now in the people watching this show right now. I will tell you that. But like literally, Vonnie, you are literally like when people go, yeah, there's
that's probably why I get treated like this because of the way I think.
Yeah. Well, hey, a lot of people. But when when people make the case for the migrants, then many people are often like, yeah, they're coming here, but Americans are taken care of. And you are literally living proof right now that it's not the case. We can't go to their fucking country and get help.
We can't go to their country and get a job.
I mean, you don't want to.
They come over here and get it. I'm just saying, in general, we can't walk over to their country and say, hey, I'm homeless, I need help, and, help me, save me, and they give us money or help us and put us somewhere. No. There's been an ongoing situation for years and years, and it's been very, this year, it just happened that we got additional, extra illegals that just walking their ass over here in bus loads. And then, what really makes me sick is when them hurricanes happen and this stupid ass bitch gonna say, oh, you get $750, you gotta apply for it, and if you don't pay it back within a year, we're gonna take your property over $750? Are you serious? And they didn't even get it.
Ridiculous.
They didn't even get it.
I wish we could get you at a Trump rally because you would literally secure him the fucking election. You would honestly, if we could get you on stage at a Trump rally.
I just can't get there. I've been wanting to go. I promise you, that's one of my dreams, to go to his rally, but I can't get there. I couldn't even make it to the one in California because it was pretty far from me. And I promise you, that's like one of my goals. Well, was one of my goals. I don't know if I'll be able to make it to one before, the election or whatever, but I really wanted to go. Like, that's one of my dreams, to get to his rally, because I really have a lot pinned up in me that I really want to speak about. Right now I'm doing my story with Regina Connell. She's doing a podcast and she's doing my story from the age of 2 years old and up. Okay. I am basically a product of a fucked up system, okay? Because of the mind frame that I have, the way I think and the things that I, believe in, I've been ridiculed, I've been beat down, I've been talked about, I've been called all types of sorts of names that you couldn't even think of. But I don't give a fuck.
Sure.
And I don't mean to sound like that, you guys.
Sound like whatever you want.
I'm at my wit's end with this shit. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the racism that continue to stay in this stupid ass fucking world where it is 2024. My ancestors haven't been a slave since the 1800s. I don't understand why people still are enslaved, and then they want to continue to vote for enslavement. Why?
Oh man,
You got to get to a Trump rally.
You're making some serious
I just don't get it. Like, I'm serious. I don't know why they want to vote for more enslavement. They want to depend on the government. They want to. The only reason why, like every black person I ask, why you vote for Kamala? Oh, because she's going to give us reparations. She's going to give us $25,000 for a business. Oh, that's what you think? Is that's why you voted for her? Because you want a fucking handout?
Yeah.
You know, that's not what the fuck that is not.
And to be clear, yeah. I mean, and again, the system should be set up for, Americans first, obviously.
I'd rather work for what I get. I'd rather work for it. I'd rather earn it. And the thing is, it feels better when you're working and you're earning because you spend your money wisely, you save wisely, you don't spend out of, just because, when I look around and I see people, they ride around in these fucking, expensive cars, and they ain't got a fucking pot to piss in it, but they got a car that's flashy, okay? And they sitting there, they want to look fashionable, and they want to look nice, but they don't want to. That money that they spend on that vehicle could have been invested in the business. See, if I had money that I could have saved up or something like that, I would have been invested in the business or something like that. But I don't have it because I'm too busy surviving.
Sure.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's a damn shame that you got to survive. I'm tired of surviving. I want better. And I feel like the only way I'm going to have better is Trump is in the office. That's the only way I'm going to have fucking better.
Well,
it's not going to happen under this administration. It's not.
I will be.
And they all need to go.
Yep. Well, I'm going to be posting this all over social media.
Look who's endorsing Kamala. All of the fucking weirdos. All the ones that's been accused of fucking messing with kids. All the ones that's been accused of trafficking children and doing weird shit. Oprah, that bitch should have been fucking in somebody's prison. I can't stand her. I cannot stand that lady. Look what they did to the people of Maui. They blew them people out of their fucking house, and then they set up shop because Epstein, his island was compromised. So now they're gonna set up shop in fucking Maui where the people lost their houses. And it's still 300,000 kids missing that they can't account for because these fuckers they lost these children and there's misplacement. People even in North Carolina. Like, I cried my eyes out when I seen the videos of people in North Carolina, Florida, Louisiana, Houston, all these people that lost their homes, that, people in trees dead, kids missing. That shit killed, even though my situation is the way it is, I will give my shirt off my back. I will fly, if I have to fly out there to help them people that's been through this hurricane, I would do it. I wouldn't care because they are worse off than me.
Yeah. And then, that's very, that's very, I guess, nice of you because, a lot of people in your position would, you obviously have a lot of issues of yourself. Good news. The chat went ham, so you got at least a few $100 coming to you after this show's over.
Tell them thank you so much. Like, they don't even understand. I'm going in like this, you guys, because I'm tired. I am tired. I'm not oppressed. I'm not a victim because I'm black. I'm a American. I'm not considered no fucking African American because I'm not from Africa. I'm a black American. I was born in this fucking country as any other American. And not only that, I'm not oppressed. I'm not just because of my skin and my color, I don't have it to where, the white man did this to me. The white man did that to me. No, the white man don't hold me back from shit. If I wanted the opportunity, I got the same fucking opportunity anybody else has. Yes, it might be a little bit harder, but I can still push and I can work hard to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's supposed to be the American dream, right?
And boy, I could tell you, I could sit here all night with you and tell you from the age of 2 to whatever age I am now of all the shit that I've been through. I done been molested from the age of 2 years old, and I've been abused, family, friends, outsiders, strangers, people that you were supposed to trust in, put your trust in. I'm a victim of rape at 16 years old by a 30-year-old man. and I had my damn child at 16 years old with her on my hip. I still crossed the fucking stage. I would have never unalived my child. I hid my pregnancy because they were trying to make me get rid of my baby. Okay? And that child right there is the one that died. She's the one who died. And the hospital stole my child from me. The hospital killed my baby. She was only 26 years old.
Oh, my God.
They killed my baby.
We got to get you justice, Vonnie. I'm telling you.
Yeah, we will. We'll spread the word. It's a shame that this is the person.
This is maybe one of the saddest stories I've ever heard in my fucking life.
Yeah. But we're helping like 21-year-old junkies and giving them free apartments in San Francisco. And like, this is a person that is experiencing homelessness genuinely.
Yeah. And not even through any fault of her own. Like, it seems like she's doing everything, trying to do it like, this is exactly what we're talking about. Like, you're just trying to do it the right way. And she's just slipping through the cracks and being completely forgotten.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I'm just tired. I'm tired, you guys. It's been plenty of times that I just wanted to end it and just leave. I wanted to go. I was just to the point where I couldn't take it no more. I wanted to just end my life and just go with my daughter. But I know that that's just copping out and taking the easy route. I got to fight. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to fight.
Yeah. Vonnie, can you do me a favor? Can you go make a Twitter account? Go make a Twitter account.
I have one.
You have one? Go follow me at Danny Jokes, because I'm going to post this.
I already did.
And I'm going to tag you in it, and we're going to try and spread this, because this is like, actually, we kind of dick around on this show a lot, but this is like pretty obviously serious. And this is a story like people do need to hear, because oftentimes they talk about people in your situation as this hypothetical, where they never actually point to a specific person saying this is happening to real people, but this is happening to you, and you are a real person, and you are an American, and you're not asking for anything crazy. Like, you're asking for them to not have fucking black mold not in your house.
I just want to play. I just want a house. I just want my baby to be comfortable. He's uncomfortable right now. He's autistic. He doesn't understand. He asks questions 50 to 100, 1,000 times, and I'm like, I have no answers for him. I don't know what to tell him. He's always, Mommy, please, I just want my own house to get him. I said, Zaire, you're going to be fine. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. God got us. He got us, And every day that passed by, he's steady coming up to me. He's out of school right now. I got my baby established in school, you guys. I just got him signed up for mental health. Finally, after, I signed him up for mental health last year after my daughter died. Do you know I'm just now getting help? Just now.
Yeah.
And now we get put out our place. So now we're back displaced. So now we can't even go to our mental health sessions because it's in Solano County.
Man, that's pretty terrible to hear. Well, we're gonna. I think we're having a problem with the stream. All right, Vonnie, I'm gonna have to let you go because we're about to wrap this up, and I think YouTube is glitching on me for some reason. I don't know what's going on, but DM me on Twitter, please. I'm gonna send you money after the show, right after the show ends.
I followed you under Lola Porter.
Okay.
It's under Lola Porter.
Okay. Well, yeah, as long as it's Danny Jokes. But I'll find you. Oh, let me just confirm.
I got you. I just followed you. I think. Let me see. Make sure. Yeah, my friend is the one that's.
Who's your friend?
Covering my story. Her name is Regina, Regina. Her last name is Conn.
Regina Connell.
ELL. Yes.
Yeah, I see.
And she's basically getting her podcasting set up. I am literally her first person that she is covering the story with. I already did my first hour is 2 to 16. Is on my is on my TikTok. Is in my story, and you guys still go watch that and listen to it. I am a survivor of child trafficking. Okay, so you can go look at that.
Okay.
I'm trying to get back to your
Yeah, well, just DM.
Yeah,
Just send me a
okay.
DM. I can't find you on Twitter just because But just send me a DM, please. We got to wrap this show up. But send me a DM,
Okay.
and I will. I'm gonna get that money to you shortly, and hopefully
Okay,
that'll help
thank
you
you so
out
much.
a
I'm
little
about to-
bit, and hopefully we can get your story to people so that they
You
can
on boy? It's called Boys Cast, right?
Boys Cast, yeah, but you're on Low Value Mail right now. But yes, I do a podcast
Okay.
called The Boys Cast. Exactly.
That's the
That
one
is
I
fair.
just followed. And then you're Danny Polish.
Danny Jokes. Yeah, Danny Polishchuk.
Danny
Yeah.
Jokes. Okay, let me look that up on Twitter.
Yeah.
Danny Jokes. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Funny.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
God bless you.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Bye.
Oh, geez. Man, that was
Yeah.
fucking. I mean, I imagine you hear that. You hear that a lot. The stories like that. Is that common?
You hear them. I mean, life is fucking hard in the Bay Area. I mean, you want a 1-bedroom apartment in the ghetto, it's $2,000 with first and last month and a security deposit. I mean, it's fucking tough to live out there.
Yeah.
But from talking to her, it sounds like Trump might win the election.
Oh, man, if there's enough of her, probably. All right, we got to wrap this show up. We're hitting time here. But Jared, I guess where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Jared Klickstein, Instagram, I think it's Jared Klickstein on Instagram. And if you go on Amazon, you search Crooked Smile, my book will pop up.
Yeah, check out your book. It's got
it's
amazing. It's
informative,
got
it's
amazing
funny.
reviews.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining the show. I hope you enjoy the new format. I'm sorry for the callers we didn't get to, but that's for obvious reasons. And for everybody who dropped a super chat, thank you for that, because I'm going to send her that money right now, and I can imagine it'll probably make a much more of a difference for her than it will for any of us. And yeah, and hopefully we can get this out, because man, that fucking sucks. That literally this is normally more of a lighthearted show. That was probably the most depressing shit I've ever heard in my life.
I'm just so glad the landlord wasn't Jewish.
Dude, me too. It was like, what's your landlord's name? She's like, Harvey Finkelstein. I was like, fucking every time.
That's like better than when I found out Fauci wasn't Jewish. I mean, that was a big day for me.
God damn it. All right. Well, yeah, me too. All right. Thank you to our guest, Jared Klickstein. Thank you for everybody for joining the show. I hope you like the new format. We'll be back next week with an all new episode of Low Value Mail. Thank you to all the scrotes for your super chats. It honestly, it means a lot to me, and I know it'll mean a lot to Vonnie. Have a good night, everybody. I'm sorry you lost all your wrenches. You'll get over it. Peace.
Thank you.
Empathic abilities, yeah, my face be also stoic. Bleep, blow, nigga, that just means I'm working. They see me as a leader, so that's why I'm Captain Kirkin. These tracks from the stars, that much is for certain. You can fit his hit if you up or if you hurt. I'm raising my stock, not talking my feet in some Birkin. Number Johnny 5 got a fucking short circuit. Bring the track to life when I spit phenomenal. When I hit, she feel that shit in her abdominals. These rappers make me laugh like comic view, they comic through. You know I got a ball out, I hit the track running just like Sonic do. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah. They was trying to get me on my hype shit. Yeah. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah. And they tried to down me up some KO type shit. Yeah. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah. Now we pulling up fresh on some flight shit. Ha. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah. They was trying to get me on my hype shit. Yeah. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah. Then they tried to down me up some KO type shit. Yeah. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah. I'm pulling up fresh on some